all the teams now get themselves into position. This will be interesting, Stevie, because over the course of the last 2 days in practice, we split the fleet up in groups of 6 and 5. Now it's all 11, and that is a very tight course.
Well, yeah, and what catches my eye is how short that first downwind leg is. It's going to be compressed at the bottom.
So 1 minute to go until we take off here, racing for the first time in beautiful Auckland.
Well, the first thing, again, we look at the start line, that red line on the middle of our screen there, the blue pole position spot there. That suggests the optimum place to start to get yourself to Mark 1 the first. And we can see that's going to be all the boats battling for that end. Can you find some space? New Zealand, top of screen. They look really late here on board the Kiwi boat. They're well out of position right now. Denmark, upwind end of the line. They look like they might find some space. It's the United States manoeuvring at the back of the line.
And here we go, 20 seconds before the start of race number 1 in New Zealand.
Germany perfectly positioned right now, and at the moment the pole predictor sits with Canada, but I don't see any space for them. New Zealand will miss this start and be a little late. They're going to have to come from behind. Watching now as Switzerland and Great Britain out the middle of the line, but Germany's still well positioned. Watch for the line to turn white. We're racing now.
Penalty Italy.
Oh, penalty Italy, that's an incident from
Australia.
The Australians early on, but it's Spain, Great Britain and Switzerland in a drag race towards Mark 1, and the Spanish hold the inside. They should lead from here at Mark 1.
As they approach mark number 1 in the first race of the day, it is the defending champions from last season, Spain, out in front. They'll grab the whole shot, the first one here in Auckland.
Lovely job on that first length. The Rolex sprint leader there, Spain, and that's a big lead to take out of Mark 1. Great Britain first to manoeuvre. How well do the teams handle these new foils?
Diego Botín, they have a nice lead. There you see Dylan Fletcher, Emirates GBR, currently sitting in second place. Stevie, the penalty still on the mass of Red Bull Italy.
Yeah, it's an incident between Italy and Australia, and you can see the Australians are still well behind Italy. Italy have got to get behind Australia, and they've got to do it quick, otherwise that penalty will keep growing. Left-hand side of screen, United States and New Zealand, they're in the race, but they're a long way back as we see Spain. Look at that, they're just stretching away here.
So it's Spain and Emirates GBR out in front. Look at the speeds approaching 65 kilometers an hour, and then it's everyone else. So the battle is on between the Brits and the Spaniards.
Oh, it looks like a football stadium there, that grandstand in the background. Huge crowd in there, and it's Great Britain that have judged this downwind leg the best. They've managed to cut the corner on the Spanish, and they lead at gate 2.
At the DP World Gate, gate number 2 here on the first race of the day. Yesterday, Stevie, everyone was going to the other side. How much of a change do you think is what we saw in the conditions yesterday?
Yeah, well, I think that's Ian Murray race geometry. It's interesting how he's laid it. He's taken the boats right into the grandstand there. And we see Spain have manoeuvred away early. Nice gust of wind that Great Britain and Spain are in, and these two boats have a big, big lead. I think what's evident out there on the racecourse already, it's very gusty. You can see those dark patches of water somewhere near Switzerland and Australia right now, but if you end up in a light bit, as the fleet did, you lose a lot of distance very quickly.
Remember, it's all about getting points over the course of the fleet races before the big final on Sunday. 10 points for the winner, none for last place, 1 point for 10th, and right now it is Emirates GBR out in front, Spain in second, the Germans out into third place, with Italy now absolving that penalty. They sit in fourth, and the Australians in fifth.
Yeah, they managed to do a good job of taking that penalty. I like where Spain are heading. They're definitely sailing back towards some good wind. You can see the winds rotated towards that Auckland shoreline there. Spain are going to start to accelerate, potentially putting a challenge in on the Brits. Big breeze in that top corner where Spain are heading to. Good news for Spanish fans, but the Kiwis, right-hand side of our screen, they're still way at the back of the pack. A lot of work to do for the hometown favourites.
The winners of the first event in November down in Dubai, New Zealand sits in 10th place. They just moved ahead of the Americans. Now they sit in 9th behind Switzerland. Australia has moved up a place or two. They're still behind Denmark, but it's still Emirates GBR and Spain, the class of the fleet right now, going 1 and 2.
There we go, Dylan Fletcher and Ian Jensen on board the British boat, working hard to put the clamps on the Spanish boat. Sailed the boat close to the wind. They're putting disturbed air onto the Spanish now, so slightly slowing the Spanish, but both these boats, well, it's a battle royale between these two. Expect a split at the top here. Could well see a right turn for the Spanish to try and find wind away from Great Britain. There go the Spanish.
So that could be the move of the match at gate number 3. They'll make their way back down. Wind conditions have stayed relatively same, but look at the speed difference between Spain and Emirates GBR.
Yeah, really hard to do that extra maneuver at the top there, especially I think with these new foils and these gusty conditions, the teams aren't as slick as possible. One thing to hold on to today, I think, Todd, it's really, really hard to do the basics well. So you've got to prioritise doing the manoeuvres well in good wind. Maybe Spain rushed that a little bit there.
And this one gets a little tricky as well. You've got Emirates GBR and Spain making their way down the course, the rest of the fleet coming up the course, so you got to deal with priority and oncoming boats.
Yeah, first world problem for those leaders, really, though. Let's take that in this huge lead that they've got themselves there. Italy in third, what a good performance. They've had a last-minute substitution, and it's the New Zealand team. Well, they're struggling at the moment, but they are, as always, moving through the fleet, and there's still another few legs to do. We're only at the halfway stage of this race. Opportunity still for Burling & Co. to find a magic path through the fleet.
Red Bull Italy, Ruggero Tita, the driver, the 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 4-time NACRA world champion. There is definitely skill and talent on board that boat. We just haven't seen it in practice or at the first event, but here they are sitting in a top 4 position. The Germans, presented by Deutsche Bank, now sitting in third.
Well, the Italians as well, Spain, they're picking up an unforced error, really. They pushed a bit wide on the course, trying to maximise that. But yeah, the Italians, they had a last-minute substitution, actually, Todd, with Andrea Tessi, the flight controller. I don't know if he got injured or something happened, but Jason Saunders from the French team, French obviously, unfortunately, not racing here this weekend. Jason stepped in, quite experienced as a flight controller, and maybe there's a safe set of hands there, that little bit more experience. So yeah, good performance so far from the Italians. Germany up to third, and New Zealand slowly working their way through the fleet.
Leg 5 of 7 in the first race of the day here at the ITM New Zealand Sail Grand Prix Auckland. As Lisa Darmanin mentioned before we went racing, Stevie, the conditions are near ideal. Sold out, no tickets available. The grandstands are full and the sun is out. This is a picture-perfect day, and what a way to come to the city of sails.
Good angle there. Pretty soft down here.
Yeah, I mean, you should be enjoying this if you're on board that Emirates Great Britain boat. Out in front, they're able to take the first choice. Spain, you could see Spain try and force something a lap ago. They went the wrong way. They suddenly lost 200-300 metres. Oh, tight moment between Germany and Spain. All fair, all clear, it looked like there, and Germany could well be up to third here. Got a chance to dive inside the Italians. Italy will be quick on the exit from the mark.
Coming up. On the outside.
So the Germans have priority once they're in that circle first, and now once they get in the overlap, Germany will have to give the Italians space.
And they've done that, they've manoeuvred away. Look at the fans on the shoreline there. They'll be loving what they're seeing with that little manoeuvre. Rockwool, Denmark, North Star, Canada, they come charging in. This left turn is quite favoured. It means it's really forcing the teams to go that way. Ian Murray's enticing the crews in towards the crowd on the shoreline.
Look at that view, stadium seating there. We've got little mini duels taking place all over. You saw the Italians and the Germans getting together, and now you see North Star Canada and Rockwool Denmark in close quarters. And here come the Kiwis. That'll get the fans out of their seat.
Oh, and look at that Denmark. Remember, Denmark are sitting in 5th right now. So if New Zealand could somehow get back to 5th position from here, what a performance that would be. And there is chance. Look at this. Great Britain, well, they're well out in front. Just one downwind leg to go. This should be a cakewalk for the British team. Spain in 2nd, but back in the pack, it's all to play for. I'd say 3rd all the way back to 7th is wide open.
Emirates GBR and their new driver, Dylan Fletcher, remember, they have made a change on that team. They went from Giles Scott and, of course, some legends on that boat prior to that. But the Olympic gold medalist Dylan Fletcher has really shown his mettle in the last 2 stops, not only here, but in Dubai.
Yeah, and Dylan really likes these shifty conditions. Same with Ian Jensen. You know, they're both very good windy, shifty weather conditions. They got Hannah Mills, of course, they're doing the strategy. She'll love being able to have her head out the boat and find the breeze that's on this course. And as soon as it is as gusty and shifty as that, there's just huge opportunity out there, really. You can see right now Italy in 3rd place, sailing well. Clearly, Ruggero Tita enjoying these conditions.
Emirates GBR and Spain 1 and 2, they're making their way down the course, and then the rest of the fleet. Stevie, can't say enough, though, about Dylan Fletcher stepping into this situation, did such a good job coming in, and you fill in for a guy like Ben Ainsley, and that is not something that's easy to do.
No, he's come in, you know, Ben Ainsley, then Giles Scott in that situation, but Dylan's a, you know, Olympic gold medalist in his own right. He was in season 1 in the F50, right. So he's not a sort of a total newcomer to it. He's got that experience, as we can see there. He swaps sides, Hannah Mills on the wheel after the manoeuvre, and he sets up. He's, yeah, very experienced on it, and he'll just be loving these gusty, shifty conditions. It's just like the Northampton Lake where he grew up sailing.
Of course, the Brits finishing second in the first event, which was the Emirates Dubai Sail Grand Prix in November, and here they come in race number 1. The winning Emirates moment goes the way of Emirates GBR. Dylan Fletcher and company take the win in Auckland.
There we go. Imagine if the Kiwis win, there'll be a little bit more excitement in that crowd than there was for that one there. But yeah, it's of course, we know it's about winning the last race, not the first race, but what a great start.
So now the battle is on.
Umpires, penalty Denmark, relative Australia, port tack boat not keeping clear.
Oh, Denmark, that's going to be costly for them. That shows potentially their little place change for New Zealand. New Zealand moving up past Canada. They put a manoeuvre in. Italy a third. Germany for... Oh, Canada spin the boat. They've got to keep clear of Germany there. Oh, that was a tight manoeuvre by the Canadians. Was it too close? Wow, that was tight.
And while that's taking place, you've got Diego Botín, the winners of last year's overall series. They will claim a second place, so 9 points go the way of the Spanish. Remember, it's all about being a top 3 boat after all the fleet races to get you in to the final on Sunday.
Yeah, those 2 boats just had a great chance to get away. Diego will be happy with that. I mean, he won't like the fact that Dylan, they've been long-time rivals in the 49er class. He won't like the fact that he got away. But as we see now, as we head downwind, right now it's New Zealand that have found good wind. Germany and Canada have fallen off the foils, so showing us 4th, it would be New Zealand. They didn't even make it to the start on turn. Incredible from Burling. How does he find this many overtakes? Now he's hunting down the Italians. Can Ruggiero Tito keep him behind? They've got a good position at the moment. Carl Langford, their experienced wing trimmer on that boat. Well, he was worried about sailing the boat just a few days ago. He's going to love where he's coming right now.
Just 2 legs ago, the Black Foils of New Zealand were sitting in 9th place, Stevie. Now they're sitting in 4th with a possibility of picking up yet another spot if they can reel in Red Bull Italy with less than 190 meters separating them.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty daunting for the rest of the fleet, isn't it? I mean, you know, the Kiwis, we said it's hard to do the basics well, and I mean, turning up and being at the start line on time, I'd put in the category of basics. They didn't do that, but now they're coming back through the fleet at a rate of knots here. Really going well. Up to 4th, Australia 5th, and it's been a disastrous last downwind for Canada. We saw that rush manoeuvre. They were in 4th for that point. Italy off the foils, but they should be round this final mark.
So the Italians on the last leg heading home, they will take 3rd. And now you've got 3 boats converging here on this last mark. It's going to be New Zealand, it looks like, that's going to hold off their rivals, the Aussies. So they will go 4 and 5 with New Zealand and Australia, and the USA trying to figure out how to get around this with 1 extra maneuver.
Yeah, well, the USA have done well here. They were right at the back as well, and there's a famous saying in England, it's not all over till the fat lady sings, and I think that could be the name of the game here, because there's opportunities all the way around the racetrack. As we see the United States just hold on the inside. Rockwool Denmark, they're going around the outside. Can Sehested accelerate that Danish boat and come back at the Americans before the finish? Here comes Canada on the foil still. They look to head over the top. It's really tight as we come in here. What can Taylor Canfield do? He's going to have the right of way. Canada must keep clear. Canada must keep clear.
Taylor Canfield turns in and forces Giles Scott to take evasive measures, but that opens the door for Rockwool Denmark and possibly Germany.
It's all tight on the line. Rockwool Denmark, can Germany find a way through?
Umpires, penalty Canada, relative USA, not giving room at the mark.
Canadians didn't turn out enough, and a penalty on the USA. Oh, it's going to be interesting when this one comes out in the wash. Do Germany get past the United States? I'm not sure if they quite did on the finish. We'll find that out when we get into the details. Oh, Canada was so close to that good result, and then coming in at the back of the pack here, Brazil and Switzerland. Well, they're going to be disappointed with their start to things here. Mubadala Brazil, brilliant in practice yesterday, but struggled in this first race.
So 11 national teams now in the start box, ready to do battle. The USA unable to go because of damage to their boat during the practice yesterday. And Stevie, I'll tell you, you look at this and you see the different strategies. France once again opting to stay away from everyone and maybe just maybe Quentin Delabere can work that magic 2 times in a row.
Well, you can give yourself space, you give yourself a chance, but the optimum position, that blue triangle in the middle of the start line there, that's the place you want to be if you're going to be set up for the best distance versus speed towards Mark 1. But ultimately, can you be fast at the gun? All the boats were a little bit slow. I think the coaches will have said we can potentially be fast at the gun. Right now, well, our pole predictor sits on the Brazilians with that space at the top, but the French are coming in fast and are going to be able to put a lot of pressure on them. 15 seconds to go. It's all about winding it up now. Delapierre's got it wound up on the French. At the bottom of the line, Rockwell Denmark are wound up. The Italians have the pole predictor, but it's Slingsby that finds a gap in the middle of the line on Australia. Watch for that line to turn white, and it's going to be go. Slingsby's got it absolutely on the money at the gun. Perfection from Slingsby, and they will drive to Mark 1, and exactly, nice work, guys. What a start from Slingsby.
And the hometown team are just that. The Flying Roos are flying to mark number 1 here in race number 2. After a 3rd place finish in race number 1, they are back. Tom Slingsby leading the 11 national teams here into race number 2 at mark 1.
Loved what he did there as well. He squeezed up under everyone, opened up an angle, wide in, tight out at Mark 1. That's what every coach wants to see. Perfect from Tom Slingsby. They're going to control the first decision. The Rolex sprint leader was the Australians, and it's Great Britain that manoeuvre first. Lovely turn by the British there, but Australia, they should be well set for gate 2. What's their strategy going to be? Will they look for a left turn? Will they look for a right?
Sepp Schneider, the winners of race number 1, in a dismal position right now. They are in the back of the fleet, left side of your screen. The Swiss in 10th place currently. It is Australia getting pressure now from Dylan Fletcher and Emirates GBR, one of the most consistent boats in the fleet through 2 events.
5 seconds.
Looks like the British are going to take a right turn here. That's Hannah Mills saying, let's spin away, turn right. So we're going to see that split again. Crucial decision here. Do the Australians, I think they will turn left to keep it simple, but there's going to be space.
Turning up here, sharper turn in 2, 1, turning up.
And at the DP World Gate number 2, it is Australia, the leaders, out in front. We saw this in practice, Stevie, and the rest of the fleet better beware. Do not give the Aussies much space. You better track them down now, because as the race progresses on, they will be harder and harder to catch. Nice move up by Martin Grail as Mubadla Brazil sits in 3rd behind Dylan Fletcher and Emirates GBR. Quentin Delapierre and the French sit in 4th.
Oh, it's a traffic jam after 4th place, though. It's so tight. The New Zealanders make a late call. They're going to lose a lot of places. They've got to stay wide on the outside. Oh, Berlin gets pushed wide. Last minute decisions cost that New Zealand team. Spain on the inside now need to keep clear of Canada. It's so tight when you're in the pack, and you are just compromised when you've not got off that start line well. New Zealand are going to struggle from here.
And Red Bull Italy and the German team, German Deutsche Bank, both off the foils there at gate number 2, so they are back in the pack now. The Swiss have moved up to 9th, but everyone still trying to track down Tom Slingsby and the Australians. Emirates GBR now into 2nd. France has moved up to 3rd.
Oh yeah, here we go. We're coming for a replay. New Zealand, well, they spin the boat away late. They could have made that right turn just, but they would have been slow. In the background, we see both Italy and Germany weren't making it. Look at this. On the inside, it's Canada. They've got the right of way, and they've got to give room to Spain. Oh, that got very, very tight, Todd, and now we got a big split on the course. We've got Australia come towards the bottom of our screen. They've headed away from the fans on Shark Island, but they've got good wind. Looks like a nice gain to the Australians there, Lisa.
Target's 58.
We're crossing them now.
By going left turn at the bottom, but they were able to gain over this left-hand side, this western shore. There's a big cloud, you might be able to see it on your screen, sitting over the city, and I think that's really pulling the wind around, so it's slowly going more and more favoured to this side.
There we go, we saw the Oracle Insights there. Did show a little bit more wind on the Australians, and see how they're sailing nearly straight up those ladder lines, so they've got good wind and a good direction at the moment. I didn't think there were clouds in Australia, Todd.
So it's Australia out in front. Their lead almost 200 meters over Emirates GBR. Brazil is now sitting in 3rd with a tight battle with the French, who are in 4th.
In the left as well. Feels like we're sailing a touch high every now and then.
Go Ian Jensen, the wing trimmer, sailing a touch high. That means they're sailing a bit too close to the wind, not quite fast enough. So it's really the wing trimmer's job on the boat to drive the speed in the boat, push the drivers to be fast. Oh, it's tight, isn't it? So tight there. Big gain again to this bottom of our screen, what we call the left-hand side of the course. There just seems to be more wind. Great Britain have made a gain, but they hadn't to keep clear of the Australians. Australia will be sailing back towards more wind. Got to expect the Slingsby and Co to make a gain from here.
As you see those green and red circles up here, the green team has the right of way, the red team has to give way as they make the turn now at gate number 3. And now you're going to see a lot of decisions being made here. It's going to be tough. Rockwell, Denmark's coming in. So is Spain, Canada, Brazil. Mobutla, Brazil opt for the right-hand side of the course.
Yeah, it's always a really interesting decision at the top of the course. You know, do you save yourself a manoeuvre or do you turn instantly back towards more wind? Brazil went straight and they've sailed into a nice bit of wind, but they're all having to turn very soon after that right turn. So I think it could be a nice game for France. But yeah, as soon as you're back in the pack, you don't have that first choice, and that's where New Zealand find themselves.
Sebastian Snyder, the winners of race number 1, the Swiss, they were back in 10th place. They have made nice gains here, Stevie, pulling a full New Zealand as they've moved up to 6th place. Mubutla, Brazil has dropped back to 5th. Rockwell, Denmark into 4th, and France holding down that 3rd place position after a 4th in race number 1. But it's the all Aussies right now. Look at the speeds on top of that wing, 76 kilometers an hour.
We're in a transition here. How long, Tash? 5 off. Stand by. Hit it with pressure here.
There we go, tight cross for the French. It's interesting listening into Slingsby and Draper, though, on those Australian boats. We can see how gusty it is, and we're going to see a split at the bottom here. We're going to see Australia turn right, Great Britain turn left. So again, who's reading the wind best? The Rolex chasing time is coming down. Britain are on the gain. They're going to be faster out of gate 4 here, the DP World gate. But who's going to find the most wind? Slingsby had the first pick, but he didn't have a lot of margin. They're both going to split the gate almost neck and neck. Who's made the right choice?
So a 1 second differential between Australia and Great Britain at gate number 4. And now the race is on to the top of the course, then back down, and then the quick left-hander to the finish line.
Tight back in the pack there, Todd. Denmark have made their way up to 5th. Rockwell, Denmark, I really thought they might have been a formed team. They finished Auckland so well. Yet to fully get up and running just here in Sydney, but slow starters, they might bring it as we come back together later on in the event.
Stevie, it's worth noting the amount of talent that's out on the water right now with World Championships, America's Cup, gold medals from the Olympics, and these boats are all equally prepared. They all share the same data, but you see the Australians just dominating in practice, and today it looks like a repeat of yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I just think, you know, that, yeah, they've lost Kyle Langford, but when they've lost Kyle Langford, they got Chris Draper. I mean, it's just so much experience. It's just a boat full of experience is what they've got there. And I think with these new T4s, maybe I've forgotten, we should have mentioned them, you know, the boats have got, they're all learning so much. Sure. How do you fly the boat? How do you use that T4? Do you push it wide on the boat, give yourself a lot of horsepower? Do you make the boat easier to sail? You're constantly compromising, and I think that experience just helps them, which is why it's so impressive that towards the top of our screen there, Mubutla, Brazil in 4th place, and now they've got themselves a bit of fresh air after a good start, putting in a really good showing.
Martine Grail, the new driver for that new team that's come in, a 2-time Olympic gold medalist, 2-time world champion, the 2014 Sailor of the Year, as she is now driving them into a 4th place position, trying to track down France, who sit in 3rd.
Looks like a potential lead change here. The British have found more wind on that left-hand side. There we go. Comes Dylan Fletcher across the boat, takes the wheel from Hannah Mills. Right of way, Australia.
Stay there, Parko. One and in.
Tightly behind.
Dylan's planning ahead here. He says, Hannah Mills says the wind's turned to the left. That means good news for them, but good news for Australia. Australia potentially going to be set for a right turn. Great Britain are going to be fast. They're going to do one more manoeuvre, look for a left turn. Tight moment coming here. Who makes the right decisions?
And here it is.
Crucial moment. The Australians will have to keep clear of Great Britain. Big lead change right now. Who's found the most wind? Britain, what a overtake.
So they were trailing by 1 second at the last gate, and now they have given that second and given themselves an added bonus second. So Lisa, as they make the turn now, as they head towards home, whose position do you like better, Emirates GBR or Australia?
I think Australia had a really nice gust, but the one thing is they have to do another manoeuvre. So I think Great Britain will have the advantage here. It really is who sticks the best manoeuvres to this final turning mark.
So when they come back together here, Todd, the Australians got the right of way, but I think they're too far back. It looks like the British, yeah, Ian Jensen calls them across.
Look at the speed, though, on the wing of Australia. They are ticking right around 84 kilometers an hour, 77 for Emirates GBR, and there it is at mark number 6, just not quite there.
We'll be down after the race.
I tell you what, Hannah Mills and Dylan Fletcher are working very, very well out there on this race course today. Great comms, and what an overtake. Is this what we're going to see tomorrow afternoon? Great Britain against Australia on Sydney Harbour.
And your Emirates winning moment goes the way of Emirates GBR. Dylan Fletcher and company get the win in race number 2. The Australians will claim second place, and that's a good first 2 races for the Brits. They go 5-1, but Australia, Stevie, a 3-2, even better.
Yeah, I mean, Australia have sailed very, very well, but Slingsby, I don't think he'll be happy about that, because that's the first time they've really been challenged boat speed. Well, let's have a word for the French. That's a 3 and a 4 in my memory there. De La Pierre, oh, he has not lost any of it after a little bit of time off.
Rockwell, Denmark, coming in 4th place with Mubadala, Brazil in 5th, and the Swiss, nice bounce back. Remember, terrible start for Seb Schneider, the winners of race number 1. They will finish in 6th.
Yeah, coming back, let's have a look at, 7th and 8th, New Zealand and Canada. Well, 9th, Spain are defending Season 4 champions. New Zealand, Spain and Canada have had a sticky start to things here, and they're already on the back foot. The Kiwis just don't look as fast as we're starting to see them be.
So Canada will get an 8th after finishing 7th in the prior race, and it's Spain. Wow, they finished 2nd in the first race, and they drop back and finish 9th.
Out there. 3, 2, 1. Okay, stop.
I think the thing with a slightly bigger race course here is if there is the opportunity to overtake, but because people have got a bit more time to get the boat up to speed, you should be able to do more accurate manoeuvres. Makes it harder to make an overtake if the other teams aren't making mistakes.
A tough weekend gets even tougher for the Germans after finishing 10th in race number 1. They go 11th in race number 2. Just to remind you, the Americans unable to race because of damage to their boat during practice yesterday. As the teams now get themselves into position, this is the calm before the chaos. 11 national teams going to put themselves in the start box, and then the racing will be on here at Sydney at the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix. Coming up on 1 minute to go before the start of racing here on Super Sunday in Sydney, Australia at the Rolex SailGP Championship. So here we go, Stevie. There are the 11 teams. The USA unable to go because of wing damage, and now it is all on. People will be scrambling for points, and it will be a real fight, especially in this first race of 3.
Yeah, I mean, what a camera angle to show us this gusty wind coming off the Sydney Harbour shoreline there. It's all over the place. I don't know if you've ever played a little Mario Kart, Todd, but it's going to be a little bit like that out there. Plenty of opportunities for banana skins, plenty of opportunities to find those big gusts of wind, those dark patches of water, and get some extra speed. Australia starting beautifully yesterday. Middle of our stream, they start to wind it up. Our pole predictor sits on board the German boat at the moment, and at the bottom of the screen it's Great Britain. Australia and Great Britain are in the best position at the moment. The optimum place to start, mid-line, but it's going to be hard to hit that. Judging the wind you're going to have at the gun's crucial here. Australia, one more dive up the line. They're going to wind it up at the bottom. Great Britain up to speed. Here we go. They're coming in towards the line. Who's timed it right? Clear start there. Australia were a little early. They had to back off the gas just before the gun, and it's Great Britain at the bottom who are going to be on the inside. Can Rockwell Denmark get over the top? I think it's going to be too little too late for the Vikings, and Dylan Fletcher's Great Britain should lead at mark 1.
The Brits are off and running at mark number 1. Emirates GBR on the inside. They hold the line. The Italians just off their right, and here comes North Star Canada. Look at the speeds.
Tight, really short to this first boundary, Todd. Here we go. Great Britain needing to manoeuvre very early. Gate 2 is going to come so quickly, and New Zealand, who need a good day, well, they're stuck in the pack.
Happy to roll down if you need. 5-8.
So your Rolex sprint leader goes the way of Emirates GBR. Keep an eye on those circles. When you see that circle, it's 2 boats involved. The boat with the red has to stay clear with the boat in the green. They will have priority. And here we go. Look how quick they are to the DP World gate number 2. Emirates GBR will lead the way. Canada tucks in behind them. Italy sits in 3rd. And look at New Zealand trying to dive inside. Do they have the space? Yes, they do.
Yeah, right of way with New Zealand there. Just first boat to split away, Denmark. They didn't want to follow the traffic in front of them. They've got their own little bit of space. That should be good news for them. Australia and France with tidy roundings, and when you're back in the pack, you're already compromised, sailing in the disturbed wind. It's going to be hard to get maximum speed out your F50 when you're back where the Spanish and Brazil are right now.
Stevie, we didn't see a lot of changes yesterday when racing took place at mark number 1. If you were in the first 2 or 3 positions, unless you made a major mistake, that's kind of where you're going to finish up. With the conditions that Lisa described today and the course the way it's set up, do you see the same thing kind of playing out?
No, I think there should be a huge number of opportunities. The one thing that stays constant is if you're in the lead, you get to make your own decision. So you look up the course, you say, okay, I see dark patch of water, I see more wind there, I'm going to head that way. If you're behind, if you want to sail towards that wind, you might need to compromise yourself. When you're in the pack, Denmark and France there, right away France, Denmark just clear. As soon as you're back in that tussle in the middle, you can be compromised by the other boats, so it's harder to make those gains. But yeah, I think we're going to see a lot of overtakes happening on this racetrack. Already, Todd, big split. Bottom right-hand corner, Great Britain. They're coming towards what Lisa described as the eastern side of the Shark Island.
Oh, no!
Oh, damage on board the Brazilian boat there. A bit of a malfunction by the look of it. Jib sheet, potentially. This flapping sail at the front, we can see it's loose. I think the sheet that pulls that in and out is broken. Yeah, left-hand side of Shark Island, New Zealand and Australia. Right-hand side, Great Britain. Who's judged that call right? Who's going to find the more wind? They're very, very committed when there's a big rock in the middle of the race course.
We'll get around the island at least.
Looks pretty good for the New Zealand crew at the moment. Looks like they've got a good angle. They're heading straight at gate 3. New Zealand are going to make a gain on Great Britain.
So unlike yesterday's course, Shark Island has come into major play today, and that is saying it mildly. This is race number 5 here, and we are scheduled for 3 more fleet races, then the event final. It is Emirates GBR out in front. The Kiwis showing their best form over 2 days, and the Australians sit in 3rd.
Yeah, I mean, New Zealand, I think, pretty much out of a shot of the final here without some kind of miracle today. But they'll be thinking season points, trying to get a good result, trying to get a bit of confidence back, of course. And what a great upwind leg by them. Canada, well, they've still got a chance of making the final, so they need a good result. And Spain and France look like they're going to be towards the back of the pack. But can anyone challenge this Australian crew on the overalls today?
Penalty, Italy, relative France, port attack boat not keeping clear.
So Italy and France entangled in a little bit of get together. That's positions 7 and 8. So Italy will have to drop behind France.
It should be a fairly quick penalty to pay that, I think, as France turned off the other way there. But really tight. As soon as you're back in this pack, it's really hard to find any space and easy to get tangled up.
We've got a good gap behind us with us and the Kiwis.
Hear the voice of Hannah Mills, the strategist on board Emirates GBR.
Coming.
So they're setting up for a manoeuvre here. They're talking about the phase, they're talking about what's the angle of the wind, how do we want to come out on the tack that's going to take us up the course the fastest next time. So Great Britain, they get first pick here. Will New Zealand follow, or will they try and find space on that other side of Shark Island where they made the big gain on the upwind leg?
It looks like the Brazilians have had to come to a complete stop, and their support staff will come in and see if they can get a repair on that. Remember, there's still 2 more fleet races to go after this one, and they'd love to be a part of that. Meanwhile, all eyes on first place at gate number 4. It's Emirates GBR out in front. The Kiwis sit in 2nd. Canada's moved up to 3rd, and Australia, who leads the overall, currently sits in 4th.
Lovely tidy rounding, and New Zealand. This often happens a bit later in the race. New Zealand are going to follow. If that's definitely the right thing to do, it's very rare you make a gain by doing deliberately the wrong manoeuvre. So on the British boat, they felt right turn was safest. Great Britain take that turn, but New Zealand decide to follow. And Australia, look at this, 1 more place gain. Bad news for North Star Canada. They need all the points they can get if they're going to make a charge towards the event final here.
France comes around with Rockwell, Denmark behind them. Switzerland, the winners of the first race yesterday, they currently sit in 7th place. And then you have the German Deutsche Bank team currently in 9th.
start to see the points unfold of the race to the final here today as things go on. But what's important right now for the crews is finding the next opportunity up the course. Looks like good wind to the right-hand side, top right-hand corner of our screen. Wouldn't be surprised to see Great Britain push all the way out to that side of the course here. New Zealand probably going to follow. And Spain, well, they saw that early on the right-hand side of our screen.
We might want to go right side.
So Dylan Fletcher saying it feels like we might want to go right.
Yeah, I think he's already made that call and he's really stretching out nicely.
So Emily Nagel's going to be crunching the numbers. It is the battle to the final. Emily, what do you got so far?
And well, with these current positions, this would almost certainly cement Australia and Great Britain through to the final. France would still clinch that final spot, but the Danish, they'd be there on 29 points. We've still got so many races left. Anything can change.
And that's as it stands right now. To Emily's point, there are still 2 more races scheduled after this one. So that means there's still 20 more points on top to gain.
A lot of action here. It's been a nice simple upwind leg really for the British crew here. Anything where you're only doing a couple of manoeuvres does really save you. So a lot of time, give you a lot of opportunity. Of course, that's so much harder in the pack. France, though, sitting in 6th, they'll be feeling like they want to gain 1 or 2 places.
And as they approach gate number 5 here on race number 5, it is Britain out in front. Emirates GBR leading the Kiwis. They go 1 and 2 at gate number 5. Lisa Darmanin. Now that we have Shark Island really in play, how is this going to change things going forward? And what are you seeing on the course?
2, 1.
So the wind has picked up in general across the course. So it's a much more open course with this direction, but it is moving around a lot. So I don't think one lap will be the same throughout the whole day today. So it's really going to test the sailors. I do like where Great Britain's going. They're going to keep it simple around the rest of the racetrack.
Tight moment on the right-hand side there with Great Britain, Switzerland, Denmark, and of course the Swiss team, well, they had such a good day one. They're really going to need to pick things up.
So it's down to the middle of the course. There you see that buoy in the center. It'll be Emirates GBR that'll get there first, and then the left-hand turn, which will take them to that Emirates winning moment. So it'll be a 2 wins out of 5 for Emirates GBR. They join the 2-win club with Australia.
Yeah, they've really looked the class act along with Australia so far at this event, haven't we?
To the left of that mark. Yeah, all good.
There we go. A little bit of navigation required there for Hannah Mills, just helping Dylan find the marks. There's a lot of action out on Sydney Harbour today, and a last-minute charge from New Zealand. This will be great for their confidence, but confused they might be.
Okay, before going down.
And race number 5, the first race on Super Sunday, goes the way of Emirates GBR, and the Emirates winning moment goes to the Brits. New Zealand holds on for 2nd place. It'll be Australia moving up in the pack. Stevie, they were back in 7th, and now they move up to 3rd. Not like they needed the points, so the rich keep getting richer for the Aussies.
Yeah, I mean, they're just sailing the boat fast, and of course Tom Stingsby, well, he's done an awful lot of sailing on Sydney Harbour, knows his way around it. It might be shifty and gusty, but he'll have seen these patterns before for teams like North Star Canada. Maybe not as experienced on the harbour, that's a good race, but a couple of points dropped really in the battle to the final, although they are ahead of France, and that will be crucial in that race to the final.
Position might be a tip change.
Spain comes across in 5th. France goes 6th, and it is Rockwell, Denmark, Nikolai Sehested in 7th. German Deutsche Bank will finish in 8th, with Switzerland coming in 9th place, and the Italians will have to settle for 10th, with the Brazilians still out on the course getting the repairs.
Yeah, I mean, pretty tough first race there for the Swiss and for Rockwell, Denmark. I think they really need to pick things up in this next race to get themselves back in with a shot on the final. Great Britain and Australia showing really they are the class of the feet at the moment, and kind of conditions that Dylan Fletcher likes. He grew up on a lake near Northampton in the UK called Pittsford, and a very shifty, gusty wind, lots of opportunities, and Dylan's seeing the course nicely. Him and Hannah Mills have been working well all weekend in that tactics strategy set up on the boat, so they'll be pretty encouraged after things out there in that first race.
1 minute to go until the final is off the line here at the Rolex SailGP Championship in Sydney. This is the KPMG Australia Sail Grand Prix. And Stevie, tell you what, Tom Slingsby is probably the hottest sailor. They have done the best over the last 7 races, but I'll tell you what, Dylan Fletcher and Giles Scott just lurking in the grass, just waiting to pounce.
Well, that's right, the Australians will have a plan. But this is the race course where a plan's not really as good as it gets that first contact with your enemy out here. Fletcher, he's coming for a late run at things here. I like where the Australians are positioned, but they're into a battle with Canada already. Dylan Fletcher's got the chance to play spoiler here. He's got to keep some space. Canada and Australia, oh, it's really tight there. Australia have got to keep clear. They're in a real fight with 16 seconds to go. Boat's going to fill up. This is opening the gap here for Fletcher. He's coming through fast. Middle of the line's the favoured place to be. 9 seconds to go. Britain are calling themselves late. 5 seconds, watching for the line to turn white. It's timing that counts right now. Oh, what a start. Fletcher's at absolute speed. On the inside, it's Canada. I think Emirates Great Britain are going to be able to lead at Mark 1 here.
Penalty Australia, relative Canada. Windward boat not keeping clear.
Oh, Slingsby's going to have to fight back from third here. He's going to have to be last round Mark 1, and then it's going to be a fight back. But for Emirates Great Britain, the ball's in their court.
So at mark number 1 here in the final, it's Emirates GBR with the lead. Canada in second, and the hometown favorites, Australia, will sit in third. But Stevie, what a move by Tom Slingsby. Didn't pull wide, he just went wide, and now he's back up to speed.
Yeah, he just did it wide. He's a bit of extra experience out there, and he nailed that manoeuvre, but it's all about being smooth on board Emirates Great Britain. They're going to be into gate 2 with no more manoeuvres. But what's the choice? Do they go straight and take a left turn? It looks like Canada might make it down and cut the corner. Big overlay by Emirates Great Britain. Canada have seen a wind shift. Looks to me like it's a lead change. Canada are going to lead at gate 2. Australia could be straight back to second. Mistake by Emirates Great Britain.
At gate number 2, the DP World Gate, it is North Star Canada, Giles Scott, that will lead. And then it's Emirates GBR, and Tom Slingsby rolls the dice. He opts for the other side. He loves to stay away from his competitors.
Yeah, he saw the chance to follow Canada, but he would have been slow. So what Slingsby's doing, he's trying to find some space. He's looking at the breeze, and at the moment it looks like he's on a nice wind shift up the course, where you expect to see him manoeuvre quite soon and head to the right-hand side of Shark Island. That's been the classic move. Lisa, how's it looking out there on the racetrack? Which side of Shark Island are you going? Oh, big tacking error.
I still think the right-hand side is strong, but where Australia have tacked, they're in plenty of pressure. Obviously, that manoeuvre was a little bit wobbly, but because they nailed that, they're going to be in an okay position, but it's going to be a fight all the way to the end here with GBR tacking in front.
Oh, big cover manoeuvre there, Todd. These two are already in a fight, and that only means good news for Canada. Look here on our Oracle Cloud, big gains to Canada.
They might try and split the other side of the island. What do you think if they do that? Going straight here. Are we happy with that?
Well, it's a 300-metre lead. What he's saying there is, what do we do if we split? If it's gusty and shifty like this, it's very simple. You have to sail what you're in. Control the controllable. All you can do is say where you think you see wind, go and find that breeze. If Australia gets lucky on the left-hand side of Shark Island, so be it. Do what you think right, Giles.
Well, Giles Scott and North Star Canada had to fight their way into that final, getting past Denmark. He's conferring with Annie Hager, Paul Campbell-James to see exactly where they're going to go. And there it is. Stevie referred to it as a roundabout. Shark Island right in the middle of the course. And Canada is out in front by more than 150 meters.
Here we go. This is in the pre-start here, and that was nearly with 20 seconds to go. Australia just pushed down across Canada, got too close. That was where that penalty came from. Canada turned the boat up into the breeze, had to keep clear. They filled the boat up, which will have hurt them, but right now it's a massive lead. As we come back on board, there's spray of water all over the Canadian boats. It's going to be champagne over that Canadian boat if they can hang on to this lead. Look at that, 150-metre lead over Great Britain. Right-hand side of screen, Australia, where they've found no luck on that side of Shark Island. Slingsby's going to need a miracle from here, and the Canadians, North Star Canada, what a season 5 moment for them this could be. Halfway through the race, Todd, one down, one up, and then the sprint to the finish is all that stands between them and victory here in Sydney.
I'm not sure they're laying anyway that turn. Going away in 3.
That's Hannah Mills talking about the Australians, saying they're not really a threat at the moment. We've got big gaps opened up here. With Great Britain coming and engaging with Australia, they've really potentially given an unassailable lead to the Canadians. It's going to be so hard to find a way back through. If Australia have got a simple choice here, do they follow? If they do follow, it's very hard to overtake.
From here, bud.
You hear the frustration in the voices on board Australia. They looked so good coming into this race. as they win race number 7 to put themselves in the top position, but those scores wiped away, and all 3 teams, apologies for the salty language, but they come around, and now they find themselves firmly ensconced in 3rd as they look up the track, and it is Canada way out in front. North Star Canada, the last time Canada won an event at SailGP, Stevie, you've got to go back to season 3, that's 2023, and for Giles Scott, you go back to last year, that's when he was driving for Emirates GBR, and that's when he made his debut winning in Halifax.
Oh, don't underestimate the fact there will be a bit of niggle between Giles Scott and Dylan Fletcher. They've swapped roles there. You know, we don't know what exactly went on with that Emirates Great Britain. Obviously, of course, a fantastic opportunity for Giles to come and sail for Canada and represent them, which I know he's very, very proud to be doing. But him and Dylan, you know, they've been rivals for positions in British teams a lot. This will mean an awful lot to Giles right now if he can hang on. And yeah, huge for North Star Canada's season, huge for the new ownership. So here we go. Upwind leg to go, 3 legs to go.
That's faster. 23 to boundary.
And Stevie, it's one of those situations where if you were coaching them, you would probably just say, keep it simple. Keep it simple. You have a massive lead. Don't let the pressure come to you and make a silly mistake.
Yeah, and you've got to focus in on your manoeuvre, so do the next right move. That's what's key at this point here. Where's their wind? That's the first thing. If I've got more wind, I can keep going fast. Now, I'm surprised they didn't turn a little bit sooner when, as soon as they saw Great Britain were about to turn left, I'm surprised Canada didn't turn. They've given about 50 metres extra leverage than they needed to, but left-hand side of our screen, there is good wind.
Get to lay and see if there's an option to split.
Well, that's there, Hannah talking about the downwind leg. They get to a point where they can either turn right or left, and then they take a call off Canada. At that point, we're not going to follow Canada. If we follow Canada, then the only hope is that they make a mistake. By splitting, they give themselves a shot. I'm surprised Canada didn't manoeuvre sooner after that gate to cover off Great Britain. There is now an opportunity. When the boats come back together, Great Britain are going to have the right of way.
Right now, Great Britain has the lead. Emirates GBR has found the speed on that side of the course. Look at the difference, 66 kilometers an hour as opposed to North Star Canada, closer to the 55, 56 kilometers an hour.
Advantage Great Britain here. They need a good manoeuvre.
Pressing a little, yeah, good angle.
Oh, it was pretty much perfect. Here we go. I think they're going to make... Oh, it's a huge lead change. But Great Britain say they're not laying. They're expecting to have to manoeuvre more. Potentially, North Star Canada can do it with just one more manoeuvre. Mother Nature could have one final say in this. There's the ley line. That's the position that says Canada will make it with no more manoeuvres.
And then you have to factor in Shark Island and what the wind is going to do there. So let's quickly go down in the water, check in with Lisa. Lisa, on leg 5 of 7, you see what's left. What are you seeing as far as wind, and whose position do you like better?
I'm a bit worried about Emirates Great Britain now. They are in quite a lot of light pressure, so it is going to be difficult for them. But the wind at this moment, it's just coming over the land, and I think they're just going to get this riding now that as I'm watching it, and they may make it.
I think they need to make it. I think they need to make it here if they can. They've got to watch out for that little mark in the water there, but it's all about making gate 5 with no more manoeuvres for Great Britain. I think they're going to do enough. Canada will be quicker.
And look at the gap that Australia has closed. Don't count them out just yet as they come in. Look at the speed differences, and it is Emirates GBR right now out in front.
All to gain here, guys. Nothing to lose. Let's go for it.
Oh, I love the attitude.
Right of way is with Great Britain. They are allowed to do a couple of manoeuvres if they need to, but they've got to keep the speed. I think they're going to be okay. They've crept round ahead of him. Huge moment. Can they re-accelerate? I think they can. They're just one turn away here. Purely about a minute's racing left. I don't see what Canada can do from here.
6-second lead, that's all it is, and they will make their way up to mark number 6. Can they hold on to that lead? Dylan Fletcher and company, they've got the lead. Here come the speed though. Look at Dylan, look at Giles Scott, they're starting to pick up a little speed.
Potentially 2 more manoeuvres. It looks like it's hard to get there. First to move Canada, that's a good call. Force extra manoeuvres into the British boat. Try and force the error. No errors so far. Send it fast. 2 more manoeuvres for both boats.
Right. Rolling away. Rolling away, mate. We'll get there.
Oh, I think the British are going to try and make it with no more manoeuvres.
Left turn to finish.
Oh, Hannah Mills there. Calm voice. Good time for a calm voice, that was.
Well, Giles Scott, you saw what he was trying to do there, Stevie. He rolled the dice. It didn't come up Yahtzee for him. And just like that, the smallest of margins, it is Hannah Mills and Dylan Fletcher that get around that final mark. And now it is a straight shot to glory land. Emirates GBR, they've been in the final for the last 2 events, and they make the 3rd final in a row. And the Emirates winning moment goes to Emirates GBR. They take the win in Sydney.
That was some race. And they set it up at the bottom, didn't they? Get to ley line, and let's see if we get the chance to split. They certainly did, and have some of that indeed. That's 3 podiums from 3 starts for Dylan Fletcher on his comeback to SailGP. What a performance. Tough pill to swallow for Australia.
And it's a tough one for Australia, the winners of the last event in Auckland, New Zealand. They came here, Stevie, looked so good on practice day. They looked great on day number 1, looked great on day number 2, and it came down to that last race. Got entangled with Emirates GBR. All right, coming up on 1 minute to go before the start of race number 5. 3 races scheduled for today. And the 11 teams now in the start box. We've got 11 teams. Denmark unable to go as they did damage to their T-foil yesterday, Stevie, on race number 1. And so 12 is now 11. And we are 3 fleet races and then the event final.
Yeah, I mean, it was a real disappointment, wasn't it? But these light winds, there's not going to feel like there's a lot of air to breathe here. And I think these new T-foils are going to be great. You will have glide with them, but they're going to be harder to get on the foil initially. So that acceleration phase is crucial. 30 seconds to go.
This is the umpires. Penalty Germany.
Germans, that's a big mistake really
relative
there, isn't
GBR.
it? They've got to drop
Port
right back behind people here for a pre-start penalty there. That's going to be very costly for them. You can see now, top of the screen, we've got the New Zealand crew up and foiling, perhaps a touch early, but if he can stay on the foils, they're going to glide through. Our Rolex pole predictor sits on the French team at the moment. Contant de la Pierre, mid-line. We're looking for that line to turn. White, who's timed it right? Great start by Emirates, Great Britain out the middle of the line. New Zealand are foiling just, but I think they're just about to drop off the foil. That could be disastrous for New Zealand. The French, the British and the Swiss are going to be fast in towards Mark 1 from here, and Great Britain and France really need a big first race if they're going to hope to make the final this afternoon.
So not quite the same speeds we saw yesterday here in Los Angeles, but they are up and foiling, and here we go. Almost 3 wide into mark number 1. This is race number 4.
New Zealand done a pretty good job of hanging on the inside there. Might still get around 4th. Brilliant first leg by Dylan Fletcher and Emirates Great Britain. They really need that. Of course, it's all about being in the top 3 towards the final today, and this is huge for Dylan Fletcher and the team.
So race number 5 is off and running in the port of Los Angeles. It is France the first to turn away.
This first manoeuvre absolutely crucial. Can Britain stay on the foil? Bottom right-hand corner of our screen. They look good. They've done a lovely manoeuvre and the French fell off the foils. You're going to see a huge lead distance change here right now because the British are going to be going so much quicker. One hull in the water is a lot of drag. One foil is a lot less drag.
You can see how hard Hannah Mills is having to work there to try and keep the boat foiling. They've gone into a slightly different mode there to get further down the course and away from the French.
Take a look at that T-Mobile cam for business. T-Mobile for business, giving us these great shots of those T-foils hard at work on board Emirates GBR.
They're going to try and be keeping this pretty simple round the course here. It's going to be light where Great Britain head because you're going to get in under the adrenaline lounge, but I wouldn't want to do any extra manoeuvres than I had to. You can see all the other boats fell off the foils doing the manoeuvre. Emirates Great Britain, it was silky smooth on the first turn. Silky smooth turning up there. It's lovely work, and they're just going to stretch out now. This will be quite relaxing, but look, back in the pack, New Zealand, they fell off the foils and they've dropped back to 6th. Canada, Australia, they're out the back at the moment, but it looks like Canada's about to get some breeze. Giles Scott's calling for the pop onto the foils.
Hey, wings made.
Oh, big moment for that crew there.
After the boy, please. Everything for speed now. 57 target. Now 5, please.
I think what's really interesting, so Annie Hager there, she's had to come up onto the handles and start working those, and I just think it's a lot of load on those handles, isn't it? She's normally a strategist. Suddenly she's got to go and grind that whole big wing sailing.
It's really hard, and the the pressure in the wing is actually still really heavy, even though it's light winds, the boats aren't going quite as fast. You're really having to work that wing sheet super hard just to try and get the boat up on the foils.
Hannah, how difficult is it, and we've seen some of the boats do this, once they drop off a foil, they go into H1, one hole there, how hard is it to get back up on and foiling again?
Well, there's a couple of things that go into it. You've got the physical exertion of the strategist, the grinder in this position, trying to generate, just as we can see it on board the French boat at the moment, really put as much power into the handles as they can to allow the wing trimmer to do what they need to do to manipulate the shape of the wing to get back up on the foils.
So there is France currently sitting in second place right now. It's Emirates GBR that lead. They need some big results, Stevie. They did not have the best day in the first 4 races, and this is race number 5 as we kick off day 2 of the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix.
Yeah, well, it's all about that top 3 places after our qualifying series to get to the grand final, the 3 races there. And well, it was New Zealand, it was Australia, wasn't it? Canada were doing well. Well, Canada have had a good comeback on this first downwind leg. Excellent work by Fletcher on the British boat right now, but there you go, that's the voice of Ian Jensen. He's just saying, let's keep it simple, try and get straight to the next mark with no more manoeuvres, so they're going to expect not to foil Hannah Mills. That means there's a lot of work to do grinding the wing there, but Luke Parkinson, if you're not foiling, then Luke Parkinson, the flight controller's not got a job, so he can happily come on and help on the handles.
And there you see the race to the final. As it stands right now, it would be New Zealand, France, and Canada making it in, with Emirates GBR just missing out. Remember, to Stevie's point, it is only the top 3 teams on points after the 7 fleet races.
You can see here is you just that big first manoeuvre, nailed it by the Emirates Great Britain. They've got a big lead. I think they'll be looking pretty safe. The interesting race really is going to be back in the pack. What can Australia do to salvage something from that 9th? And I think the US team, they had a relatively buoyant finish to yesterday, but they normally specialise in these light winds. I think, you know, it's such a big advantage having Anna Weiss. She's a full-time grinder. She's not a strategist turned grinder, and she's on the handles right now, able to bring an awful lot of horsepower in. As New Zealand, I'm surprised they've done an extra manoeuvre there. They look very slow after that mark.
France currently sitting in second, a long way away from Emirates GBR. We now go down to the water, and the question that everyone wants to know, Lisa Darmanin, is there more wind coming? And if so, when will it arrive?
Well, we do expect the wind to build throughout the afternoon, but one interesting thing about this course, it's the opposite to yesterday, the right-hand side. That's the only place we see boats foiling. So anyone that's heading into the port, they're able to pop on the foils, and that we can see Spain is foiling, Australia is foiling. Looks like the French have also popped up compared to Brazil and Switzerland.
Okay, so Lisa says more wind on the way. Stevie, maybe we'll have more pressure for race number 6 that is coming up, and right now race number 5 belongs to Emirates GBR as they are out in front by a huge margin. The battle will be on now to see who can salvage this race and pick up 2 or 3 points here more than their opposite team, because you look at Spain, France, Canada, they're really still in the mix. Stevie, Australia, New Zealand, also the USA. There's some teams out there that really aren't have a shot at making that top 3.
So tight, and I wonder if it's any coincidence that there's more wind under the Los Angeles grandstand there. Perhaps the fans are giving a bit of extra help to the breeze on the racecourse. But it's the Spanish are the light wind specialists, especially in LA. This is where they won last year, and look at the way they've progressed up the fleet here. Huge upwind leg for Diego Boutin and his team. And him and the French, well, they're in a real battle to make the final, but look how slow the British boat is, just trickling. They're off the foils there, trying to avoid those other boats, and they're losing a lot of distance here. You can see the speed left-hand side in kilometres an hour. Well, wind speed's similar, but look how much slower the British are going at the moment with 2 hulls in the water. Pretty big call here for the Spanish. I think probably going to like to try and keep things simple and head straight on. Every time they turn the boat, it's a big problem. Right in the middle of our screen, New Zealand are foiling. They're showing a 6th at the moment, but they're going to be making some serious gains. They're nearly twice the speed of the Canadians at the moment. This is your chance to pop. This bear away moment here, you turn the boat away from the wind, it's your best chance for acceleration to get up and foiling, but it doesn't look like the Spanish are going to manage it. Will the French manage to pop that boat up on the foils? Here they go. Oh, it's lifting. Oh, perfect by the French. Look at them go on the handles there to get that big wing sail moving for the takeoff, but they can't quite keep it foiling. Oh, so close, and they've decided to give up on trying to foil.
So this is leg 4 of 6, race number 5, day 2 of the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix, and everyone's searching for win, and Emirates GBR has found it. They are now up and foiling.
Oh, do you know what? I love these light wind races where you're on the foil, you're not on the foil. It's like Super Mario Kart, isn't it? How you can move up and down through the fleet. How stressful it is on board on these ones, though, Hannah?
Well, it all changes so quickly, even though relatively to other days, everything's happening a little bit slower. Actually, the mode changes are so important. Do you invest in foiling, or do you just sail with one hull out of the water and commit to that angle?
Great shots from the 5G POV camera, powered by T-Mobile 5G on board Emirates GBR as they continue to search for pressure to get their boat up and foiling. They lead it, France in second, Spain in third, Canada in fourth, and the Swiss now a top 5 position. The Americans have dropped back to 9th.
Really nice upwind leg by the Australians here. They were 10th at the bottom, they're up to 6th. This will be huge for them in this race to the final. Remember, it's all about making the top 3 after we've done our qualifying races today, and a tactical choice here being made. Australia turn left, is going to go straight on New Zealand. Well, Lisa was talking about more wind under the fans on the shoreline. Who's made the right call here? New Zealand have got a decent chance to get up and foiling as they turn away from the breeze. Learn a lot about the course.
Yeah, copy. My wheel. Nice gust, chopper gusting through. Take that.
It's pretty slow, isn't it? New Zealand left-hand side of our screen, right under the fans. They are foiling, but can they stick another manoeuvre? If they can stay on the foils here, they're bound to be right back up near the front of the fleet, but they're not going to be able to do it. It's just too light at the top of the course. It's really dancing on ice. Mousing carpet, slippers required as they move around the boat there, but New Zealand for a moment, they were nearly away.
So it'll be Dylan Fletcher and Emirates GBR that get to gate 4 the fastest, and I say fastest as they cross the line. The course has been shortened, and that is your Emirates winning moment. So they shortened the course from 6 legs down to 4, and we were just caught off guard. Apologies there. It is Emirates GBR that claims race number 5 for your Emirates winning moment.
Well, you'd take that if you're on board Emirates Great Britain, wouldn't you? And right now, well, it's Spain with the right-of-way. Canada not really making any progress towards this finish line right now. They're sailing parallel to those ladder lines. Spain look good for a second place here. That's right. Don't want it. That's right. I think that's a good call, Florian. Let's get weight off. I don't think you want to try and foil here. Just get to the finish in one hit. There they go. Joe Cordona just getting down, but a little bit late for me. Florian called for that a few seconds earlier, and those two have just run to the other side of the boat, but they've done it a little late.
Should be okay though, right?
Looks like they're going to be okay, Todd, doesn't it? But I think, you know, that'll be an interesting one for them to debrief afterwards. Got to be quick adapting to these changes, these mode changes that Hannah was talking about, and they were perhaps a little slow there. But anyway, second place. They've done a far better job than I would have done, needless to say.
Adapting on the fly, all of us are, as the race is shortened, and crossing the finish line in second place is the winners of last year's event here in Los Angeles, and the reigning Season 4 champions, Spain. They get second. Valuable points there. Now the race is on for third, and this can be huge. Canada looks to have a slight advantage over France.
It's a big moment here, especially with New Zealand and Australia back 7th and 8th at the moment. This is a big, big thing. Dip for the finish here, potentially. Both boats are going to turn hard to their left to try and go straight through the line. They both go pretty early for my money. Looks like the Canadians are going to do it. Oh, I'd love to know who's going faster. They both. It's like a 100-metre dash. Dip for the line. Canada are going to get it. Could be
Canada,
huge.
Yeah, that would be a big difference.
Top right-hand corner, Todd. Sorry to interrupt. The Australians were up and foiling at that moment there. Look at them on the right-hand, top right-hand corner of our screen. They're foiling. Swiss in 5th at the moment, but not on the foils, and the Aussies are in a gust of breeze. Can they stick this manoeuvre?
No foiling.
Oh, it's
look at
beautiful. Oh, that was... What a manoeuvre. That was just Chris Draper on the new side of the boat. He had the wing, he had the steering wheel, he had it all, but they managed to stick that manoeuvre beautifully. This is going to be massive. Could be a 5th place here.
They're going to pick up the extra points as Australia comes flying towards the finish line. Look at the speed difference between them and the Swiss. And coming to the line, just like he did yesterday, Tom Slingsby has found some more magic on the Pacific, and they'll pick up an additional spot.
Somebody taught Tom Slingsby how to sail in light breeze, because they are rapid through the fleet. They were 10th after that start. Disastrous start. Excuse us for a bit of industrial language on board there. That hasn't changed with Tom Slingsby, has it? Even if the light wind Techers has come come on a little bit, but they'll be very happy with that gain. Solid mid-fleeter for the Swiss, but they probably needed something special, and this could be a tough day for the Kiwis. They're going to need something special in the next race.
You can see how changeable it is. There's no form book at all today, so really difficult to keep the boat going. The teams who've had a bit of a more difficult race are going to have to pick themselves up, turn themselves around for the next race.
So now the race is on to see who can salvage at 7th place right now. Will it be Germany or will it be the Kiwis, Stevie? This is the question, and it looks like Germany has more speed. They have the right of way, and the Kiwis have to worry about Brazil right now.
Yeah, the Kiwis have got to keep clear of Brazil, and they're trying to shut the door here on the Brazilian team. Brazil are going to gain the right of way, potentially. Now they've got to keep clear of New Zealand. It's tight, but the Kiwis need every point they can get.
Red's there, right? Smash them. Go outside.
And this is a battle for 8th position, and Pete Burling realizes what's at stake.
He's got to say, Marcini can't turn there yet. They're wide of the 3-boat length circle. Burling's going to spin it. He wants to make sure he's not overlapped as he comes into the circle. It's all about accelerating out of here.
But has he opened the door now for Italy?
They've nearly gone off the course. Italy, maybe, but they're a long way back. I think Burling's hoping to enter the circle, not overlapped. He's now putting disturbed air on Brazil. Great move by Burling. It was aggressive, it was legal, and he's got the job done.
Look at that. Look at that. That's like parallel parking. Holy cow, New Zealand will pick it up. And then Brazil will finish in 9th. Coming up on a minute to go before the start of race number 7, the final fleet race here at the Rolex Los Angeles Sail Grand Prix. Only the top 3 teams after this race will be moving on to the 3-boat event final.
Middle of the line, Australia early back. They're deciding to try and really control the starts. They're right slap bang in the middle of our screen, the Australians there, and they're really trying to control these starts. New Zealand off to the left-hand side. Great Britain this time have found some space. France has space as well. 42 seconds to go. We see that blue triangle. That's our optimum pole predictor position to start. That should give you the optimum equation of distance versus speed towards Mark 1, and the Australians are well lined up for it. At the moment, the Rolex pole predictor sits right on top of that Australian wing, and the boats are trickling in here. They're all a little early for me. They're going to have to get slow late on. France dip out the way. Canada currently the favourites. They've been starting really well. 17 seconds to go. Brazil well positioned, Canada well positioned, and Great Britain well positioned. New Zealand are struggling to get a good start from here. All about the acceleration now. Winding up onto the foils here. The boat's turned down. We're looking for the line to turn white, and we'll be go on the final qualifying race.
No foil yet, no foil yet.
Good start by Emirates Great Britain. Are they foiling? I think they might be about to. Germany have come through on the foils. Switzerland are on the foils. And yes, Emirates Great Britain are on the foils. They need to win the race if they're going to have a shot at the final. And this could be just the move they need.
At mark number 1, the final fleet race of Los Angeles event, and it is Emirates GBR desperately needed a whole shot, and they get it.
Oh, and this is the race we've got to watch. It's a simple watch now. Left-hand side of screen, New Zealand are last. Emirates Great Britain are in the lead. All about this manoeuvre for Emirates Great Britain. First 3 boats turn at the same time. Who does it best? Switzerland are off the foils. Germany hang in, but perfect from Emirates Great Britain. Rolex sprint leader, and they are going to be gone at gate 2.
Germany have done a good job coming out of that jibe exit. They're working really down low, close to Emirates GBR.
Nice job. I think Emirates Great Britain will go around the outside from here, and it'll be Germany following. Question now is New Zealand. They're sat in 11th, and that will put them 4th overall in the race in the final at the moment. They've got work to do. There's a chance here. You're saying there's a chance, Dylan Fletcher.
It gets really interesting because if the race standings go like this for the rest of this race, it would be Emirates GBR that would get into the final, bumping New Zealand into 4th by 2 points. So the Kiwis, they've got to get up and go.
They have, and Canada are doing a nice job. Of course, Canada, Australia, they can't afford to drop too far back either. But right now, It looks very good for Emirates Great Britain. The Kiwis left-hand side of screen, here they come. They're coming into view. To me, they will have gained a few places here, but the crucial thing is, can they get foiling? It looks like they can. I think the Kiwis are going to get foiling and they're going to overtake a fair few boats. It's chaotic on the course here because this first downwind leg's so short, but New Zealand are foiling. They're going to be way, way up the leaderboard from where they are after this. They're going to go behind Australia and look to turn left. Pressure could be on the Australians rather than the Kiwis after this gate. Spain are going to have rights on the inside. This is getting really difficult for the Australians right now. It's going to be advantage New Zealand over Australia. Tom Slingsby's on the back foot. He's got serious work to do here.
Lots of up here.
And now it's Australia dropping into that 4th position. So as it stands right now, it would be New Zealand, Canada, and Great Britain.
It would. I think Australia are actually slightly better. I think because the fleet's so congested with people on the first downwind leg still. Yeah, there you go. Sudden jump up.
Yep.
And I think that would be enough. 7th is enough. But Australia are right on the cusp. Dylan Fletcher and Emirates Great Britain can't do any more right now. But Australia needs to finish 7th if they're going to make the final. That's the simple battle. What a first downwind leg for Peter Burling and the New Zealand crew. Saved their event in that manoeuvre.
Take you on board Emirates GBR. Beautiful shot there. That's what we want to see. Nice, clean foiling. Hannah, your old team looking very good, but the situation is this. They can win the race, but they still can't guarantee themselves a spot in the final.
No, and you can hear the tempo on board is quite calm because they'll be very aware that if they can win the race, whatever happens behind them, they can't influence it.
I think what's important to remember at this stage, Todd, look, bottom right-hand side, the Oracle Cloud gives us that race to the final, and Great Britain are ahead, but the same points as Australia. It's important to remember if you're in a tie-break, it's the person that does best in the last race that will get the shot through to the final. So it's good for Emirates Great Britain at the moment, but the Australians have just overtaken one place up to 7th. He's got to work.
Oh, we got to set up better than this. Ridiculous, we just lost it. Hey, Max, stiff there.
Okay, a big moment. Can Tom Slingsby reset himself? There's plenty of opportunity on this racetrack, but we're nearly halfway through the race. Got work to do.
So they'll come up to the top of the course, and they'll go back down. Then it's over to the quick shot in front of the fans. Tom Slingsby's going to try to rally. Stevie, there's 2 teams out there that I would not put money on not to make the final because all they have to do is work their way up a few positions. It would be Australia and New Zealand. They are the craftiest of working their way through the pack.
Yeah, they've just normally got really good manoeuvres, but you can hear the tension levels are high, aren't they? You know, there's a lot of money on the line at this event, as well as the championship points. Tom Slingsby will be well aware of that. He's going to set up for one more manoeuvre in a left turn. Great Britain are nearly a leg ahead. Look, they are just sailing away with it here. New Zealand right-hand side of screen, they have to finish ahead of Australia, and in fact, they really want to be trying to keep a couple of places in the bank, but they're foiling right now, 37, 38 kilometres now. Looks good for the New Zealand crew at the moment.
And Australia just picked up another position as they move ahead of Spain.
They've got to get back past Switzerland, I'm pretty sure. They need to overtake the Swiss if they were. Here we go. Oh, Australia have got it. If it stays, it is 1 point in it. Oh, this is so tense for them.
So Tom Slingsby gives a quick on-water pep talk, and they rally for another position. Will that position hold, or does Dio Botin come back and turn the tables on him? Meanwhile, it's Emirates GBR. They've already made the turn at the last gate, and they are heading upwind.
Yeah, I mean, Emirates GBR have done absolutely everything they can, sailing a great race here, as you say. The final upwind leg, nothing more they can really do. I wonder if they can maybe slightly slow down the Australians somehow. It'd be a little bit of a non-ideal move, but you can at least put yourself in their way, so they've got to sail around you.
Bottom line, Hannah, they own the tiebreaker. So if they just win this race, they'll cross the line. They'll feel great about winning the last race, but they'll just wait and see what Tom Slingsby and the rest of the fleet do.
Yeah, and it's a bit of a nervous moment sometimes when you cross the finish line. There's nothing more you can do and see where the chips fall after that.
I think any of us, you'd probably tell us better than anyone, Hannah, but you know, Dylan Fletcher's not going to be happy with winning the last race and not making the final, is he?
No, and sometimes it does just play out like that, but they're doing an excellent job so far in this race and winning the first race of today as well.
Tight with Australia and New Zealand still here. Pressure manoeuvres for the Kiwis. They've got a couple of manoeuvres to do. Australia and Switzerland are very tight as well. The Aussies are chasing the Swiss down. It's going to come down to these last couple of manoeuvres at the bottom.
Sebastian Schneider, he is at the wheel of Switzerland. Yeah, he is, but Stevie, he has got the masterclass behind him, and Tom Slingsby just tracking him down.
He has, but Slingsby needs to know that he doesn't have to overtake the Swiss. What he has to do is not get tangled up and slowed by the Swiss. What a manoeuvre by the Australians under pressure, though. The Roos have nailed that. They've got to keep clear of Switzerland at the moment, but as soon as they enter that yellow circle, the Aussies will have the right of way. But the Australians, the crucial thing, can they stay foiling?
Coming up here, staying fast.
Nailed that, Todd. They've absolutely nailed that. It was a perfect ley line. Sailed about 30 metres less than the Swiss. Nailed the manoeuvre. That might be the moment we say the Australian booked their ticket in the final.
So Great Britain still way out in front by more than 200 meters in the distance. They will win this race, barring any major disaster. There they are at the bottom of your screen, just cruising along at 24 kilometers an hour. Probably unaware of what's happening in the back of the pack as the Australians have overtaken the Swiss. They are in 7th place. As long as they stay in that 7th, Stevie, they look to be safe.
Stay on the wheel, stay on the wheel.
Oh, there's a bit of a tangle for Chris Draper there. He'd crossed over and was going to take the wheel, but he managed to get a bit tangled. I think they've salvaged it, but at the moment the Spanish could have gone round and got ahead of the Australians, I'd say, to my eye. The Spanish have got the right of way, coming in from the left-hand side of our screen. Both boats struggling to progress much upwind, but the Kiwis crucially are foiling, as are the Spanish, so they're going to be starting to absolutely motor up this racetrack at the moment. Lisa, what hope have you got for the Australian fans out there? Are they heading the right way?
I think they're heading the right way, but the issue we've got, if you look at the New Zealand, if they make the ley line, they've got to do 1 manoeuvre, where Australia still have to do 2 manoeuvres. So this is a really dangerous spot for Australia to be in right now.
No danger for Emirates GBR, Lisa, as they make through the last gate, and as they approach the line in front of the fans, the Emirates winning moment will go to Emirates GBR. So the Brits claim the win in race number 7, and now they sit and wait and look for some help.
There you go, Dylan's already asking. Poor old Rob Wilson's got to be getting the answers out to Dylan quickly here. The crucial boat right now is the US. They've got the right of way. They're going to cross ahead of Australia. That currently puts the British in the final and Australia out of it. Australia have got more manoeuvres to do, and they've got to be ahead of USA and Switzerland when they come back together if they're going to hope to make the final. They're foiling, but the US have got one less manoeuvre to do.
Well sailed, team. Good race. Good race. It's really tight. We need Australia to lose a place.
So there's Rob Wilson confirming what Stevie had just said. Australia sitting at 7th place. They need to drop to 8th place to give Emirates GBR a chance of making the final. Germany's in safely in 2nd place, and now the race is on. Italy looks to be claiming 3rd. Canada's going to do themselves a solid, so they seem safe as they will come in 4th, and then New Zealand. And keep your eye on the center of the screen. You'll see Australia coming in, and watch the USA, the Stars and Stripes.
That's exactly it, Todd. That's the race. So this manoeuvre by the US is crucial. They've not got the wing pop. They're a bit late popping the wing, just in time. Got a lot of heel in the boat there, but they're okay. Now, Australia have the right of way, but they've got one more manoeuvre to do. USA will be thinking they can get there with no more manoeuvres, but they've got to keep clear of the Aussies, and it's all about that for the race to the final. Can Slingsby find a way to hold Canfield behind him?
And coming up here.
Here's the cross.
He's dialed him down a little bit, tried to make it hard for Taylor to make the mark with no more manoeuvres, but I think the USA team look all right. Slingsby's only hope is to stay foiling and go trailer park around the outside.
Get a little press for the market.
USA are going to be slow. Australia are going to be on the foils. Here we go. Slingsby's lining up the Slingsby slingshot into the finish. It's going to come down to this. Can he get past the US boat?
Never has a battle for 7th place been more exciting than this. As the Americans get into the circle, they've got the inside line. Taylor Canfield will spin it around. Can Canfield and the Americans hold off the Australians? Great Britain is certainly hoping so.
Australia have got to keep clear. Australia have got to keep clear until they get near that boundary, and then all of a sudden the Aussies will have right of way to keep clear. They're staying on the foils. I think he's done it, Todd.
Oh my goodness.
He's got a sense of drama on board there, hasn't he? Johnny Drama, Tom Slingsby on the boat. He's just got to glide across the line. I think that's enough.
Just enough, as Tom Slingsby will claim 7th. US SailGP will finish in 8th. And by Stevie's calculations and a quick work on the abacus, it looks like Australia has done just enough to get into the 3-boat final as US SailGP crosses the line in 8th. Switzerland will finish in 9th with Brazil in 10th.
Pretty sure I'm right with my maths there, Todd, and the Oracle Cloud's backing me up as well, which is a far more reliable source of data, that is for sure. I think with Australia, well, I mean, well, that's hard for Emirates Great Britain. That's the first final they're going to miss in season 5, but wow, they came up good when they needed to. They had to win the race. They did win the race. What an incredible final race.
So 1:20 to go before the start of race number 1 as the 11 teams now get themselves into position. France unable to go today, so the pressure really on the rest of the fleet.
Yeah, first thing we can see here, Todd, is a really short downwind leg in front of the crowd there. This start will be absolutely crucial. You need to lead at Mark 1 or it's going to be carnage.
So the teams are getting themselves into position and they will begin the dance before the start of race number 1. Race number 1 set to go here at the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix, Portsmouth, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship. And this will be critical, Stevie. You could have absolute carnage because of the way this course is set up.
Just such a short sprint to Mark 1 and then an even shorter sprint to Gate 2. We see the boats coming back, and I like Canada's move here. The late tack in, you can see the favoured triangle lines on there. The blue pathway shows us the optimum place to start. Our Rolex pole predictor sits on board Spain at the moment, but I think Canada have got the control in position. New Zealand, it's aggressive from Burling up at the top of the line. He's going to need to be oh so fast to get over the fleet from here. Spain and Canada are in the pole position, but who's going to get their timing right? Line to the right-hand side of our screen will turn white when we're good to go. United States winded up. Switzerland winded up. New Zealand at the top of the line are so fast. Ooh. Brilliant from Dylan Fletcher and Emirates Great Britain. He's going to lead at Mark 1 from here in New Zealand. Well, they're going to be on the outside of the bend, and it's going to be hard for Burling and co. They're going to need to be very, very fast. Early manoeuvre coming for Emirates Great Britain.
At mark number 1, it's the home team, Emirates GBR, that have the lead.
Oh, look how fast the Kiwis have gone there as well. Rottwell, Denmark, though, aggressive. Sehested holds them wide. Spain dive on the inside, and it's now a sprint to Gate 2. The fans are going to get a great view, but look how congested the fleet is here. Great Britain are going to take a left turn. Keep it simple. We heard Fletcher say that. Anticipate here, Burling doing an extra manoeuvre and turning right to try and clear the traffic.
And keep an eye on those channel markers as they get to Gate number 2. Look at this as they come around there. Hannah Diamond, you know these waters maybe better than anyone else. This is a tricky race course with all the race furniture out there.
Yeah, really tricky race course, and of course no practice racing yesterday, so this will be the first look at the course for a lot of these teams.
It's really tight in at the bottom there, isn't it? And I think we can see Emirates Great Britain have kept it simple. I think when you're out in the lead, that's the sort of standard thing to do, really. Try and find that little bit of space, minimise manoeuvres. But Lisa, we've seen Great Britain turn left, New Zealand turn right. Do you fancy either side of the course?
I actually really like where the New Zealand team is going. In general, where the British were is the lightest part of the race course. So I would say favourites in New Zealand right now. But, you know, the Brits are the locals. Surely they know what they're doing.
More pressure coming in 10.
I think interesting at the moment, we're coming on board here. Nick Hutton, he's the only one on the handles. Big pressure weekend for Hannah and Dylan at the back of the boat there. We can hear Hannah and Dylan, good communication going on, but they need to get things happening because they've had a disappointing middle of the season.
Another unique part of this course right here, you're going to see Spitbank Fort coming into view just on the right-hand side, and that's another big obstacle they're going to have to avoid throughout this race.
We love a roundabout in Great Britain, though, don't we, Hannah?
Yeah, that's right, but you've got to watch out for that wind shadow it produces. Looks like Emirates Great Britain have just managed to get to the windward side of Spitbank Fort, so no issue for them there.
New Zealand look like just about managed to sort of cement that third position. They were in a big pressure position round Mark 1, but they've done well in Spain. We've seen how fast Spain have been getting through the season. But look at this leaderboard on the left there. Yep. The Bond Flying Rouge, Australia, they're up to 8th, but they were in last at Gate 2. Not the start Slingsby would have wanted.
Obviously left small bias, but I think we're good, eh?
I think we're good.
So leg 3 of 7 as they made their way to gate number 3. It is Emirates GBR that have the lead. Rockwool Denmark sits in 2nd. The Black Foes of New Zealand 3rd. Then the winners of the last 2 events and the defending champions from season 4, Spain, sit in 4th.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big lead for Great Britain now. I think Emirates Great Britain from here, they're just minimising those manoeuvres, Hannah, and just trying to maximise speed around the course, really.
Yeah, that's right, and trying to, just like you say, try and keep it really simple, and that's obviously paid dividends for them so far. The fleet's going to get a bit compacted as we come into top gate 3 here, with the Kiwis coming in on starboard.
Switzerland needs to keep clear. And now right of way New Zealand, Switzerland. Oh, that was an aggressive turn in front there, but the Kiwis have just kept it round the outside. Spain are entitled to rune inside Switzerland here, but they probably choose to go straight and keep themselves in some space.
So we've seen a bit of a difference in kind of strategy here. Emirates Great Britain have got Hannah Mills at the back of the boat in that strategy role. A lot of the others with 5 people on board have chosen to have their strategists move forward to that grinding position. Strategy's key, we know that, and it's paying off for them so far.
Massive lead here on race number 1. We're scheduled for 4 today. This is just leg 4 of 7. It's the home team, Emirates GBR, out in front. Now remember, they currently sit in 4th place overall on 41 points, but they're only 5 points out of 1st place, which is currently being held by the Spanish.
Top 6 boats overall, there's nothing between them really, is there? Spain have looked like the form boat in recent times, and they're right in the mix here, Spain. Again, remember, it's all about consistency at this point of view. As we see our SailGP insights, we dive up into the Oracle Cloud. What's the wind speed looking like? Well, it's pretty similar across the course, really. Great Britain and Denmark, somewhat unsurprisingly, they're in a similar patch of water. They've got similar wind speed.
Wing up here, Nick, before the turn. Okay, nice, mate. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1.
It doesn't get much more smoother than that, Hannah. A lot of calm conversations on board with a big lead. It was 9 seconds at the last gate, and now as they approach the DP World Gate at the bottom of the course, Denmark will come through, and they will trip it. It's now they've lost 3 more seconds, so they're 12 seconds behind the leaders.
And this is a dream situation when you're leading. You've got all the boats behind you following with that left turn. Makes it really nice and easy to cover the boats behind you.
And I think if you're in the first 3, you're fine, you're happy, that's a good result. Great start to the regatta. I think when you're 7th, 8th, United States, Australia, here we see Switzerland, they may be going to split the course and try and find space on the other side. It's when you're in the pack that you're maybe slightly compromised by the other boats ahead of you, and you have to look to try and force something. What's Slingsby going to do? Is he going to follow, or will he try and work some magic?
Our star Canada and Giles Scott has made some improvements. They are now up to 5th place, and just as Stevie predicted, it's Tom Slingsby not liking what he saw on that left-hand side, did not want to follow the Americans or the Canadians, so he has opted to split the course and go to the right.
Yeah, if he followed the United States there, it'd be in disturbed wind, effectively less horsepower going into the rig. You're just definitely going to go slower, so he's opted to sail a bit more distance, find a bit more space, and see if they can use what we know to be one of the fastest boats on the race course, or fastest teams, we should say. All the boats are identical, of course.
Meanwhile, it's Emirates GBR out in front. Their lead over 100 meters over Rockwell, Denmark, who sit in 2nd place. The Kiwis sit in 3rd, Spain in 4th. Switzerland has now moved up to 5th, overtaken US SailGP, who have dropped down to 6th. Well, here was the start one more time. Keep your eye on Spain on the right side of your screen.
Yeah, right on the inside, and that's what they've done quite well this season. Is often your position at Mark 1 can be, 3rd, 4th or 5th, but it's whether you can then decide your own tactics, and to do that you want to be on the inside. Wow, look how close that was, Italy. Ruggiero Tita had to make a really dramatic move. As we can see, it's getting a bit loose on board the Spanish boat. That's an unforced error. They got a bit too high on the foil. Joel Rodriguez there just flying the boat a little high. Oh, it got very, very loose on that downwind, and that was a lot of distance. That could be the difference between them being ahead of New Zealand and not at this stage of the race.
So that was back at the start of race number 1. Remember, we've got 4 races for you today, 4 fleet races. And as everyone tries to build their account as many points as they can, and then after 3 more races tomorrow, it is the event final where only the top 3 teams will compete.
Had an overtake there, Todd. New Zealand found a bit more wind away from the shore there on the side of the course that Lisa liked on this upwind leg, and we're just downwind now from here, so that could be a fairly crucial moment. We see Rockwell Denmark, well, they're fast, but they're going to pin themselves outside here. Very much the controlling position here with New Zealand, but Rockwell Denmark's on fire. Look how fast.
Leg 6 of 7 in race number 1. There you see more of the obstacles, the channel markers out on this course. Good time to check in one more time with Lisa Darmana down on the water. Lisa, you talked about the favorite spot of the course early in this race. Has it changed at all, and what's the forecast for the rest of the day?
So it's quite gusty out here, Todd, and shifty. So I think the British are doing a really good job of going to better breeze and getting the good angle. But talking to the sailors before the race, they're saying there's so many obstacles out here. So if the wind's not hard enough, the boats aren't hard enough, they've got to choose where to go on either side. These islands and pylons. So it's a real minefield out here, but it's a masterclass by the British.
And Hannah, you talk about it, you made the point, there was no practice racing yesterday because there was not enough wind. So for some of these sailors, this is literally their first chance to race.
Yeah, that's right. A bit of a baptism of fire. And you can see the Brits just come around that last mark there as they're on the way to the finish. Real
This is going to be a
masterclass
pretty
race
special
one.
moment here, isn't it, in front of the home fans?
And what a way to start off your home regatta. Race number 1 at the Emirates Great Britain Sail Grand Prix Portsmouth goes the way of the home team. Emirates GBR take the win.
What a start to that race by Emirates Great Britain. Absolutely brilliant. It's going to be really tight between New Zealand and Rockwool Denmark. I think New Zealand managed to just dive inside. Burling judged his lay line into that bottom mark perfectly because Rockwool Denmark had gone round the outside. They'd gone further faster, but controlling position with the black foils, and they're going to bring it home in second place here.
Pete Burling and company showing their class. They take second. Rockwool Denmark, they needed those points in a big-time way. They currently sit 8th overall. Remember, they've had penalties earlier in the season, so they need to get points in a big hurry. And then it's Spain, the winner of the last 2 events, and the current leaders overall sitting on 46 points. They will pick up a 4th. Room for improvement there, Stevie, but they still look very good. And the Swiss coming in top 5.
Yeah, and remember, it's all about getting to that top 3 tomorrow. So it's about consistency at this point. So I'd say all these teams, probably even Canada, are going to be happy enough with that. They've not had a shocker. They've had an all right start. Of course, Emirates Great Britain are going to be over the moon, aren't they? Giles Scott, another, Canadian, but of course he's done a lot of sailing in Portsmouth himself here because the Canadian boat brings it across the finish line. So another team that'll have a lot of local support, I'm sure.
And the Bonds Flying Roos, they will finish in 7th. Tom Slingsby hoping that'll be their worst result of the 7 fleet races. Italy and Red Bull Italy and Ruggiero Tita, they'll check in at 8th place, so they had some improvements. And now you've got a battle between the Brazilians and the Americans coming down for that next position. This is a valuable point, and look at Taylor Canfield. He's pushing them.
He did a good push there, Todd, didn't he? Great push by the US team there. Brazil had to keep clear, and you don't mess with a world match race champion in that sort of situation.
So Taylor Canfield comes through. They will pick up that extra point over Martini Grail and Mubadala Brazil. And the Germans, now remember, there's just 11 teams out of the water because of France's incident early on, and they will pick up no points. All right, thank you very much, Hannah Diamond, as we are now 1 minute away from the start of race number 2. Remember, we're scheduled for 4 races today. You get 10 points for win, all the way down to 1 point for 10th, no points for 11th and 12th. We've got 11 boats ready to go. Brazil damaged their boat in practice, so they will not be going. And Stevie Morrison, I got to think at this point, after 1 race, if you're France, Spain, Canada, and Denmark, you need some points in a big hurry.
Yeah, I think on the season standings overall, for France and for Canada especially, this is huge. But yeah, Spain can't afford a bad one now. New Zealand, the black foils, they're out the back here. Spain out of position at this point as well again here. Germany, well, it's consistency that makes a good regatta, so can they pull off a good start? United States leading the fleet back. They have the Rolex pole predictor on at the moment, and that is the fastest angle to the line where they are right now, so they're prime position, but can they accelerate? They're a little close to the line. Spain out the back, accelerate the boat. Australia, the Bonds Flying Roos are trying to judge the start. All about timing now. Wait for that line to turn white. Perfect by the Spanish there. Water start. Australia are going to be out the back.
The umpires, early start penalty, Australia.
Brilliant by the Spanish there. What a start. They're going to be so fast into Mark 1, and it's going to be Rockwool Denmark chasing them down with a faster angle. But again, we've got big breeze coming for Mark 1.
As they approach mark number 1, it is Spain who finished 9th in race number 1 that have the inside line, and we'll see what they do with it.
Oh, Rockwool Denmark gave the United States a nudge there, pushed them high at Mark 1, trying to force them off the track a bit. Switzerland and Canada are out the back. It's a big race for the Bonds Flying Roos. Can they get back in the match?
And mega pump pressure here in 2. There's a big low. This one is very good.
Race number 2 is on. This is leg 2 of 6. It is Spain out in front. Denmark sits in 2nd. France has moved into 3rd with the U.S. in 4th.
It's the Kiwis that have turned away early here, Todd. Top of our screen, the Kiwis were in the pack. They found space. They'll come back with right of way. They have nice breeze at the moment, but I don't see them getting near the first 2 boats. They could be right back in the battle for the top 3 places, though.
Yeah, it looks like there's a really light patch of wind in the middle of the course. They're going to have to work really hard to see if they can join up the pressure and make it back to the middle of the fleet.
And here they are approaching gate number 2, the DP World Gate. This is race number 2. It will be Spain. Diego Botín, Olympic gold medalist. What will he do? He's going to opt for that left-hand side. And it looks like Rockwell, Denmark, and France, as well as Red Bull, Italy, and US SailGP will all follow.
Really tight. New Zealand Blackfalls have got a tough situation here. They've not got rights on Emirates Great Britain. Germany have got to give them all space here. Emirates make it. Oh, he did a good job. 2 boards in the water on board the Kiwi boat there. As Germany get really loose on the roundup. Good save. And we're back into the upwind leg here. Who's going to find the most pressure and make the gains?
So as they make their way back upwind, you see the top of your screen, Spain leads. Emirates GBR with a nice pickup there. They move into 2nd place, and a good move as well for Rockwell, Denmark. But it is Los Gallos out in front right now, the winners of Season 4. The overall champions looking for a big victory here. You notice we have 11 boats racing and not the normal 12. We had some very dramatic moments out on the water on practice day on Friday. Brazil with a big moment damaging their boat, which means they cannot sail today because of that damage. We hope to get them back at the next event, which will be coming up September 12th and 13th, and that will be the Rockwell France Sail Grand Prix in Saint-Tropez. But that does give us an opportunity to bring on board some Brazilian crew members, and one of the very best indeed is Andy Maloney, who'll be joining us. Andy, if you can hear us, your reaction and your thoughts about this sailing venue of Sassnitz and a first-time visit for SailGP.
It's pretty epic out there right now, Stevie. This is just champagne sailing, really, on these wings with this configuration. The boats are just wicked to sail, and pretty jealous right now.
Yeah, mate, and just quickly, while we're looking at the boats here, they're going upwind, we can see it's very, very gusty. Now, it always strikes me as a flight controller, you've got your head kind of down in the boat. How much are you having to move things to adjust the foils to control the boat when it's this gusty?
It's super dynamic in these conditions. You just got to keep your ears open and listen to that wing trimmer calling the pressure, and take all the comms in and try and be as anticipating as much as you can.
Andy, as you look on these 11 boats that are competing out there right now, is this a learning experience for you, seeing what they're doing? Are you seeing it from a totally different angle, and do you think this will help you guys going forward?
We'll definitely look back on the data from today, but right now we're just trying to enjoy watching the racing from a different perspective for the first time.
Talking of that then, which side of the course are you right now? Emirates Great Britain have found themselves under the shore, but it seems like there's a gain to be made out where the French are at the moment.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to see from here, but it's all about linking together those lines of pressure and trying to stay out of those lulls on the downwind where you can make some massive gains.
We're visiting with Andy Maloney, the wing trimmer for Mubadala, Brazil. They were involved in an incident on Friday, so unable to race today, and he is joining us on the commentary. And look at this one more time. We've got another situation. Andy, take us through what it's like at these gates and how hectic it is when you have 4 or 5, sometimes 6 boats all vying for the same spot.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, you have to anticipate so much in every role on board the boat, and as a flight controller, you're really listening to those comms and trying to preempt the next move by the team, and when you throw in 11 other boats out there, it becomes really difficult to do that.
It's pretty crazy. We see how much the fleet's splitting out here, Todd, and I think someone that maybe has got one of the good seats for a view on the water is Lisa. Should be able to maybe see what's happening out there breeze-wise. A lot of the fleet have turned offshore, Lisa. Are we starting to see a pattern to the race course yet?
Yeah, I think the reason is because there's this big mountain behind the grandstand, and that's creating this real soft spot if you do a right turn. So everyone's favouring that left turn around the top, and then again at the bottom gate. So it is changing out here, but that is the general pattern.
Here's the situation right now. This is race number 2 of 4 on day number 1. Emirates GBR at the front of the pack once again. This time, can they hold it? They have a nice lead here, almost 200 meters. France is in second, and then you got the Black Foils, Los Gallos, and Rockwell, Denmark, top 5, with the Americans just on the outside, sitting in 6th.
Yeah, that's a good move there, isn't it? The British found a lot of breeze, and they turned right at the bottom last time. So trying to pick the pattern of this race course, what are we hoping to see from the British here, do you think, Hannah?
Well, I think, you know, it looks quite likely that they can make the left turn, but you can hear just Dylan there. He's actually planning for the next leg of the race, so it looks like they're going to take a left turn here and then set themselves up for a nice, easy kind of minimising the manoeuvres on this next leg.
And Andy, when we had your old mate Peter Burling in the booth here with us, he'd talk about how important that planning the next move was on the race course.
Yeah, I mean, as you can think as far ahead as possible, but when you've got all these other boats around you, you become very in the moment, and that's what the good teams do the best, is planning as far ahead as possible and giving the crew as much time to anticipate the next move.
So they make their way through the bottom of the course. Now it's up, and then the right-hand turn will be to the finish here in race number 2. It is still Emirates GBR, but a big game there for the black foils as they now sit in second. Los Gallos, who got the whole shot, the Spanish champions of last season, they sit in fourth, but they are moving up quick. At the top of your screen, there is France and Quentin Delapierre.
Yeah, I think the interesting battle, New Zealand and Spain down here. We're going to get to the boundary, and New Zealand will have protection, so Spain will need to move away, but the Spanish boat, to me, looks really fast. They're sailing in a compromised position near the black foils, but they're gaining on them, so great move here. Key at the moment seems to be getting space. These two boats in a fight are going to slow each other down. There goes Spain. They peel away, and they turn it into a boat speed race.
Really surprising from the black foils there. Usually they're really great with their boat speed upwind, but either they were trying to make it difficult for the Spanish to live there, or they were struggling with something on board.
Yeah. Well, or they were up against the Season 4 champions who have got some wheels on them occasionally. It just shows, I guess, slight moments of form and finding the rhythm, but the British are in rhythm right now, Todd.
So there's your Rolex chasing time right now. The distance between Emirates GBR and France, 12 seconds, and that gap coming down just a little bit here. Remember, this is the penultimate leg. As they come up here to the top of the course, it'll be a right-hand turn and then the finish line, and this time it looks like Emirates GBR, Stevie, is going to hold on to this one.
Yeah, they're well set. I mean, right now in the best breeze is the black foils, but they are going to have to do a couple more manoeuvres. We were just saying how the Spanish look quicker. Well, Pete Burling and Liz Mackay have found a bit more breeze and have put a gain in Emirates. Great Britain look good. France stick the manoeuvre there. So Delapierre, again, well positioned, should be set up, but they will have to watch out for the black foils at the top.
Andy Maloney, how hard is it to find air out there? How hard is it to see that breeze out on the course?
On a day like today when it's this puffy, it's actually not that hard, Stevie. It's more the other boats get in the way and make it difficult to go where you want to. Today it's pretty obvious the lines of pressure, and the teams will be seeing it really well.
Andy Maloney, Mubadala Brazil, giving us the insight right now, and we turn our attention to the Emirates winning moment, and it will go to Dylan Fletcher and Emirates GBR as they win race number 2 here in Sassnitz. France will take second place, and a great maneuver by Pete Burling as they cut the gate really tight, and now the battle will be on, it looks like, for fourth as the Bonds Flying Roos come out of nowhere. Remember, they had the penalty early on, Stevie, back of the pack, and now they're fighting for third.
Oh, it's unbelievable. They've come flying through, and New Zealand, the black foils are off the foils, the Spanish are off the foils, could well lose a place, though. Yeah, the Bonds Flying Roos, well, Slingsby, he was fired up. Last to first. Well, there you go. Don't get a lot better than that as comebacks.
New Zealand takes fourth, and Los Gallos, Spain, they will take fifth. And it'll be Rockwell, Denmark, coming in sixth place. So this is an interesting course. A lot of times we say this, there's no passing lanes on this course. There are definitely passing lanes out there because the Roos, they went from 11th to 3rd.
Yeah, I think Andy said it really well, to be fair, that it is opportunity. You can see the breeze, so you can see the opportunities, but of course it's easy. As Mike Tyson said, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. And I think today, once someone tacks and takes your position that you want to be in, well, what's my plan B, what's my plan C, what's my plan D? Consistency is going to be really, really hard, highlighted really, as we can see the Italians, Germans, US, all towards the back of the fleet after brilliant first races for them.
And I got it once again, tip of the cap to the shore crews for Emirates GBR, Stevie. They went to work and they got the boat ready, and it is out on the water, ready to sail.
Well, and even more, it looks miraculous, doesn't it? It looks perfectly new. I mean, that shore crew's incredible. Hannah will be able to tell us more than myself, but the tech team and the Team GBR, team as well. It's been an amazing effort.
Hannah, that is your former team, and here they are back on the water. Yesterday, when that incident happened, do you think there was any chance they'd be racing today?
Well, certainly they had to wait to crane the boat out to see the extent of the damage, but, an amazing effort from everyone involved in getting the boat back on the water, and I think, just going to be getting back into their routines for today, trying to put yesterday behind them and see what they could do today.
So 12 becomes 10 here on Super Sunday at the Germany Sail Grand Prix Sassnitz. The USA and Brazil will have to sit this one out on the injured reserve list. Everyone's okay, the boats, though, not so much. So here we go, 1 minute to go before we kick things off here in Germany. As they make their way into a very small start box, Stevie, this is a little bit different than yesterday, so tight quarters.
Yeah, this is going to be a really tricky racetrack, and I think if anyone at home's ever played Super Mario Kart, this is going to be Super Mario Kart, but with Mother Nature deciding who gets the rockets and who gets the banana skins. So there's a lot of action going to happen out here. This race will not be over till it's over. Judging the start's going going to be really difficult. You could have 800 horsepower or you could have 300 horsepower when it comes, depending on the wind. Right now it's light in the box. Those boats out the back could be struggling. Yeah, look for New Zealand to cut the corner here. It's really light. Boats are going to be slow. New Zealand, Burling, cuts the corner. The Aussies, the Roos, they're struggling at the bottom of the line. Pole predictors with the Germans. They've managed to get on a hull. Who can get these boats flying? 15 seconds to go. Emirates, Great Britain and France are trying to thread the needle. Delapierre might save this one at the bottom of the line. I like where Delapierre is right now. Rolex pole predictor still on board North Star. Look for the line to turn white. Brilliant by the French, and they're foiling. They're going to be gone at Mark 1 at the moment. Can any of the other boats get up and going and chase them down? North Star are foiling. Top of the Tyne, Italy are foiling as well, as are the Swiss. It's going to be a big, big drag race for the French here.
And as they approach mark number 1 here in the first race on Super Sunday, as a wise man once said, how's your timing, Quentin Delapierre?
Absolutely smashed that timing, threaded the needle there, and it's now all about finding the wind here. Expect to see Manon at the back of the boat, head on a swivel, not just looking for the other boats there. Dark patch, left side of screen. That's going to be really fueling up the boats behind, but we can see New Zealand still stuck off the foils, top of our screen. The black foils are miles behind, but don't expect that to be the last we see of them in this race.
Super tricky just to even get around that mark. The air's going to be really disturbed around the course. So if you can get ahead, just like the French have done here, it's going to be so much easier sailing for now.
Look at the angle as well, Hannah. Look at the angle they're sailing.
Straight down the course. They've got a really nice shift angle there, but it's going to be quite hard to pull off this maneuver to turn the boat and head back towards the line. So they're going to have to be really accurate with their maneuvers.
So this is like 2 of 6, race number 5. We've got 2 more races with the entire fleet after this, and then the event final. Only the top 3 teams will racing. It is France out in front. North Star sits in second. Emirates GBR on the repaired boat sits in third, and Rockwell, Denmark, the speed merchants from yesterday, in fourth.
Really crucial here that you try and pick the course where you think you can stay and wind. You can see the French there have actually turned away from the wind. I'm slightly decided by that decision. A little bit of a random decision for me, that. I think straight on for the left turn for Canada is good. They're off the foils here. Could be a mistake by the French. That's going to bring them back into the pack. Canada also decide to take that. There is maybe big wind where Rockwell, Denmark are, so they're trying to head back that way.
As they try to get around the DP World Gate here on leg number 2, we check in back on the water with Lisa Darman. And Lisa, any idea why the French and the Canadians would opt for that as a tight Rockwell, Denmark drops inside?
Yeah, no higher. Keep fast.
Well, that's where all the wind is, Todd. So in the training, everyone was over there. There's this big gust of wind over there. So I think everybody's prioritizing that side. Now, once you get to that breeze where all those spectator boats are, that's great. But then how do you navigate the next half of the course? That's the real challenge.
So to Lisa's point, you see Rockwell, Denmark, Stevie, having no problem keeping their speed up. They make the turn. They're now in first place. And Emirates GBR on the other side of the course.
Yeah, and Emirates GBR have actually stayed in breeze there. I think they could be in good shape here. They're going to really move up these ladder lines quite quickly.
New breeze, top left.
You can just hear the conversation there. It's a little bit heightened, but I think that's because it's such a fast-changing dynamic on the racecourse.
Yeah, I think it's one of those days today where if you can sail the boat without concentrating too much on what you're doing, you've got the capacity to look around, join up those patches of pressure. The Brits have done a really nice job to stay in some pressure there, but they're just slowing down now as they come into some lighter winds.
We've got the small foils on as well, Todd, remember that. So the boats have got the potential to go really fast. But when the wind drops down, all priority's got to go on staying on the foils.
And what a story this would be if Emirates GBR could somehow come back after that collision yesterday at the end of day number 1 and find themselves in a position to battle to hoist the wheel at the end of the day here in Sassnitz.
You see here in the picture, you see to the left of the screen, it's really dark. To the right of the screen, lighter colour. They're talking about a high mode. They're trying to sail the boat as close to the wind as they can to desperately cling to that more wind, cling to that more horsepower. Here we go. Rockwell, Denmark, they decide to turn back, but they're in really light winds here. So there's a lot more manoeuvres going to happen on the race course today as the boats try and find that extra wind to get the extra speed.
Hannah, we hear the term glamour racing being thrown around a lot, but you look at Emirates GBR, this has got to be a glamour situation for them. No boat within 150 meters of them. They have the whole course basically to themselves.
Yeah, I think on a lot of days that would give you a lot of confidence, but actually on a day like today, that lead can go in seconds. You can see at the moment they're just paralleling those laddered lines. They're not barely making any progress up the course, whereas the boats at the bottom of the screen here are in really good pressure, so we expect to see them make a gain out of this.
Yeah, we see New Zealand, the black foils, right-hand side of screen, they were miles behind. Burling is so good in these shifty conditions. He's going to probably be top 3 by this top gate potentially here. He's got themselves in good breeze. Rockwool Denmark are back in wind, but you can see them really zigging up this shoreline. That was what Lisa was telling us. This side of the course has, on average, got more wind. And again, in racing on a day like today, it's all about averages. They would die to have our helicopter view of the race course to be able to see what's coming.
So the umpire, Craig Mitchell, the chief umpire, issuing North Star Canada with a penalty as they sailed outside the boundary, just searching for some wind and some pressure. And Stevie, just as you called it, Emirates GBR, look at them. They are at 22 knots, kilometers an hour right now. And here comes Rockwool Denmark and the Swiss.
Yeah, and they're on the inside. Rockwool Denmark going to do a handbrake turn here, 180. GBR are going to try and go back that way, but they're struggling rules-wise. All the boats are going to be able to come inside them here. So Rockwool Denmark are going to look to pop straight back on the foils if they can. Could be the last the fleet sees of them. No, they're not. They're not on the foils. They're struggling, and it's Slingsby's going to split the course. I think there could be breeze that way. You've got to trust Slingsby's seen something.
It really depends on what stage you go round these gate marks. That really influences your gate choice here. So the Australians, Bonds Flying Rouge, they had that option to turn right there, but the Brits really didn't have that option.
And I gave Burling the kiss of death, didn't I there? Look, he's fallen off the foils. The black foils are 9th and not moving really at the moment. But as we've seen, a lot to be done here. Australia and Canada in good state, and they're foiling. They're going to go down a lovely patch of wind, Hannah.
Okay, and board in 2. 1 board. And turning. I got Italy.
Really nice work on that manoeuvre there, making sure they're in pressure to pull it off.
What I just think we've got to remember as well, it's all about getting to that top 3 today. That's all that matters. We're accumulating points in that race to the final. Australia, well, they were well ahead, weren't they, after racing yesterday. And here we go, race to the final points. Left-hand side of bottom left side of screen there. Australia, Denmark, and Great Britain, but Germany as well. The hometown heroes, it's all on here. And we've got a lot more racing to go today. Even in this race, this is far from over.
10 points to the winner of each race, all the way down to 1 point for 10th place. So you can do the math with 3 races, 30 points up for grabs. All Tom Slingsby and the Flying Rouge need to do, Stevie, is just keep themselves consistently in the top 6 or 7, and they are golden.
If only that was easy, Todd. This is not a day where that is an easy task, but they're doing a nice job right now. And you can hear it's changing a lot on the racecourse all the time.
Here come the Bonds Flying Rouge on the outside. They'll make the left-hand turn, and it is Rockwool Denmark just on their side.
They've got to keep clear of Denmark, Todd. They can't turn until Rockwool turn. There you go, aggressive from Sassnitz, really pushing Australia wide there. Good tactical racing by Nikolai. Might well be a 180 coming back for the Rockwool Denmark team again here. No straight, he's going straight, but Slingsby's going to turn. Slingsby splits, and there is wind where Slingsby's headed.
Turning up here.
Slowly rolling up. I think this is a good call by the Bonds Flying Rouge right now. This could be an overtake.
Nice pushing too. Bar and gust on here, buddy.
Really calm comms on board the Bonds Flying Rouge. Tom Slingsby talking with Tosh Bryant, the strategist on the back of the boat.
Stand by here.
You can see here Australia are doing nearly 60 kilometres an hour, and Rockwool Denmark are off the foils 24. Maybe I have still got it, Todd.
I think something that's really hard today is just keeping everything cool, calm and collected. Things are changing so quickly. The boat's pretty hard to sail, and it's going to be about forgetting the bad decisions you make and really trying to learn from the good ones you make.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, popping here.
Oh, big relief for Rockwool fans there. If Rockwool can get back up on the foils, and Australia are now getting slow. So Rockwool could well be in good shape again now.
Gives us a good opportunity to go down on the water. Lisa Darmanin, has anything changed? We're going to check back with you for these updates. But who do you like and what position do you like best on the course right now?
Well, Todd, yes, everything's changing. Everything's changing every 5 seconds. I mean, Australia was looking really good, and now Denmark's back in the game. I think the key today is kind of being really dynamic. You want to be able to move your boat around. You want to be able to stay on the foils when you do those maneuvers, because you've got to do, like, you've got to turn, you've got to tack, you've got to drive maneuver before you run out of pressure, and it's so challenging out here. Emirates Great Britain could be back in this, though.
look at this. Emirates Great Britain up to third, and Rockwell Denmark now takes over the top position as the Bonds Flying Roos turn just below them. North Star Canada also in the mix. So really the same four teams, Stevie and Hannah, that we started with. They're back in it as well, and some voices getting elevated on board.
Yeah, right of way, Emirates Great Britain here. Australia and Rockwell Denmark must keep clear. They're both off the foils anyway. Australia is struggling to get back on. Emirates GBR, this is the final manoeuvre here. If they can get past that yellow line, all the way past the ley line, we know there's more wind where Emirates Great Britain are heading on average, so this could be good shape for the British fans.
So just before the boundary, Emirates GBR make the turn, and now the race is on. There you see Red Bull Italy in 10th place. They're going to get lapped almost in this situation where they are still heading downwind.
Hey, we're crossing, no issue at the moment.
Agreed, staying high here.
Did a really nice job there just to choose to go H1 out of that manoeuvre. So they're choosing to put that leeward hull in the water and take a higher mode, sailing closer to the wind and closer to that mark.
Yeah, control the controllable, sail a bit less distance if you can.
We're going to go straight back here. Building here.
Roll up, big roll up.
Just see when the wind drops off, there's so little you can do. It's just a bit out of your control. But Rockwell Denmark, look, they're up and foiling in the background, but they're sailing across the ladder lines. Top left-hand side of our screens where they're aiming for here. Doesn't look like Emirates Great Britain will get there, so it's going to suddenly be change of situation again. Bonds Flying Roos have the right of way. GBR need to be confident of being ahead.
Hey, no issues. Denmark tack.
Hey, H1. No.
Those angles change so quickly in these conditions.
So Hannah Mills jump over to the other side of the boat to keep an eye on Denmark and the Bonds Flying Roos. And here we go. This is the moment in the race. It's a right-hand turn. There you see the finish line.
Yeah. So can Australia stay foiling? If Australia stay foiling here, or Rockwell Denmark, they could roll right round Emirates GBR very easily here, but it could also turn into a parking lot. Emirates GBR not foiling. Rockwell Denmark commit to the left-hand side. Got to keep clear of the British boat here. All off the foils. Should be good news for Emirates GBR, but there's going to be a park up here. Fletcher will be very, very aggressive.
And a complete roadblock for the Bonds Flying Roos. Nowhere for them to go. If they opt for the left side, they're going to lose distance. So now the race is on. It's a slow drag race to the finish line in race number 5 on Super Sunday. And the boat that was down and out yesterday is now in the winner's circle, winning race number 5. It's Emirates GBR that takes the win.
That was pretty full on there, as we can see in the background here. Germany, Switzerland, and the black foils way out the back. There's going to be an awful lot to be done later on here to try and catch back up.
So the top 3 is Emirates GBR, Rockwell Denmark, and the Bonds Flying Roos. That's your top 3 in race number 5.
Turning. Going around Canada here.
So now the team's going to do a quick debrief as the rest of the fleet comes in. That'll be the Swiss that'll finish in 8th place. Disappointing for the black foils, Stevie. Drop back to 9th place.
I mean, I think it's just, yeah, as soon as you're in the pack, you start to not be in all that much control of your decisions overall, really. And I think, you know, Burling's normally very good in these conditions. He'd normally really back himself. But if you are back in the pack, perhaps you don't get that first pick. So, yeah, pressure well and truly on the black foils if they want to make the final. But don't get it wrong, this is so tight. And we've seen that 3, 4, 5 points can just change in the blink of an eye.
There is the event leaderboard with Australia, France, Germany, Great Britain, Denmark, and Spain. Really, Stevie, with Germany in the running still.
I think you could take anyone, yeah. Probably Canada might think they've got a half chance, but certainly 7th to 2nd you could throw a blanket over, and it's going to come down to who can find the breeze and stay patient and calm in their boat around this racecourse.
So with these conditions, Hannah Diamond, where do you want to be on this start, and what did you learn from race number 5, the race prior?
Well, I think that's a tougher question than normal, Todd, to be honest, because it really depends where the pressure is. We saw the French come off the bottom of the line well. I think it's a risk to be up high, to be honest.
Stevie, the question I would say now is do you be reactionary, find out where everyone's going, and then, as Hannah said, look for a hole and then just try to thread the needle, or is that just too risky?
No, there's just not too light a breeze here. It's too light and too changeable. You've got to put yourself in the front thing. Try and have a plan, control it. Emirates GBR, right-hand side of screen. They're up and foiling. They're going fast, but I don't know if he's going to be able to burn off enough time. De La Pierre, once again, out the back in the middle of the situation there. Rolex pole predictor sits on the Danes. They have got a gap, but it's all about the pop into the start. Emirates Great Britain, how's your timing, Dylan Fletcher? Oh, they've nailed it. They're foiling, they're fast, and they're perfect at the start line here. They are going to be gone at Mark 1.
Probably going to come back left to Mark. Copy. Coming up a bit.
You've seen it's not all about the start, Todd, but once again, the black foils are way out the back, as are France and Spain, and it's the Bonds Flying Rouge and Emirates Great Britain again that are in the mix at Mark 1.
At mark number 1, it is once again Emirates GBR looking good as they've got all the momentum fresh off the win in race number 5. The Bonds Flying Rouge slot into second place, and Germany Deutsche Bank sit in third.
And this is huge. I think the toughest job of the day is going to actually be for the Oracle Clouds, keeping us up to speed on who's doing what in the race to the final. But we can be pretty sure that for Emirates Great Britain and the Bonds Flying Rouge, things look pretty good right now. And for home fans, could this be Germany's first ever final?
Going.
Emirates GBR the first to turn away, Bonds Flying Rouge behind them, then it's Germany Deutsche Bank, North Star Canada. They're in a top 4 position right now, and Red Bull Italy round out the top 5. Good time to check in on the water. What everyone wants to know is, Lisa Darmanin, where is the wind?
Well, the wind is different for everybody depending on the timing of the course. So with the wind, obviously it comes over the land, it's different, and it moves its way down away from the land. So when the teams are about to turn up, they're sort of looking up the course. So for me right now, I still think that left-hand side where all those spectator boats are is the most consistent breeze, but there's definitely opportunity where Emirates Great Britain are going right now.
Yeah, at the moment we can see the Bonds Flying Rouge split. They took for the right turn at the DP World Gate, but I like where Emirates GBR are going. You can see there's that small dark patch of water. I expect they're going to manoeuvre in that. If you manoeuvre in pressure, that's kind of a key. Manoeuvre when you're fast and manoeuvre when you've got plenty of wind to hope to stay on the foils. As we see the rest of the fleet coming in, this fight to the final is going to be really, really tight. As we can see, Rockwool Denmark 7th, Black Foils 8th, French in 10th. There's going to be a big, big battle. Here we go. This scoreboard is going to be all over the place through this race, trying to keep up with who's making the final. As Italy and Spain are off the foils right now.
And the further back in the pack you are, the harder it is to keep the boat on the foils. So just, I think we heard Ian Jensen say earlier, let's make hay while the sun shines. If you're in pressure, it's much easier.
Yeah, and look at that. That's, on average, it's good to come where the Bonds Flying Rouge are, but at the moment they've made a big, big loss to Germany and to Great Britain. Germany are in a lovely bit of wind at the moment and going nearly straight up those ladder lines, so they've got a good angle and good pressure. Although, as I say that, the wind direction changes a little bit. Still fast on board Germany, but losing a bit of distance.
Big lefty, top of course.
The lefty, so what does that mean? That means the wind's going to swing to the left, which should favour Emirates Great Britain. It looks like the lefties on Australia right now, they're going round them like a little candy wrapper underneath there, wrapping round the British. Can the British get into the same wind as Australia? Just shows you can be 10 metres apart and in nearly a totally different breeze here. Absolute beautiful moment for the Bonds Flying Rouge.
Halfway through leg 3, Australia was sitting in 4th, maybe 5th place, and here they are now in 1st place as they make the right-hand turn, and it looks like Emirates GBR will join them on that right side as they make their way back down the course.
Okay, here we go. We heard Bonds Flying Rouge saying we're going to do a Chicago. So that's one of their set play moves, which is basically a handbrake turn on that mark. And it looks to me like Emirates GBR, whatever they call it in their playbook, they've done exactly the same manoeuvre, but they've done it better, and they're straight back into wind. So potentially Emirates GBR is going to made us to get back on the foils first. Germans, they're going to look to take a left turn, come back into the wind. Bottom of the screen's where the wind is, and that's where the Germans are heading right now.
Bonds Flying Rouge have lost all their wind now as they have dropped from 1st back to 4th. And there you see Emirates GBR, their speed right around 70 kilometers an hour.
Yeah. It's just so hard to read the breeze. You're trying to make best guesses all the time, and I think that's what Dylan meant by acceptance. You've got to make a decision. If you're indecisive on a day like today, that's worse than anything. Make a decision and then reassess, make the next one. Race to the final, Hannah. How's it looking?
Yeah, so at the moment, the boats at the front of the fleet in this race are the ones who'll be making the final. So we've got Australia on 49, Great Britain on 40, Germany 35. That is as it stands currently, but there's plenty more racing to go.
Plenty of drama to unfold in that storyline in and of itself. You've got Emirates GBR with a damaged boat last night. They're back up and sailing. The Bons Flying Roos missing out on the final last time because of a controversial penalty. They are possibly in the final. And Stevie, to your point, Germany making their event final for the first time on home waters.
Well, it'd be amazing if they could make that happen in front of Home's fan, wouldn't it? We've got another split here, and the two boats are choosing different ways. There's definitely wind where the Bons Flying Roos are headed here, so I'm a little surprised that Emirates GBR have taken that, but they'll be able to see more than we can for sure. I think this result right now would mean the Bons Flying Roos are definitely in the final, even with a race to spare. That's how well they've sailed this weekend. But yes, for Germans, well, I guess they'll be able to stay in the moment now, but the pressure's about to come on. Can they keep things together? Can they stay as smooth as they've been? Black foils are back in the race as well there, Todd. We can see here, oh, this is interesting. Have a look at the wind across the course. They're very well separated, but at the moment, not much difference in wind. A little bit more wind on Great Britain, so should be a potentially good news for the British, but it looks like the Australians are the ones that have gained so far.
Tight crossings here in the center of the course with Emirates GBR dipping behind the French. Here comes the Australia, the Bons Flying Roos, and there you have Red Bull Italy crossing as well.
Potentially two more manoeuvres for the British here. I guess they're going to just try and find a good bit of... Here we go, they set up. They're going to try and do one more.
Talking about high mode on board the Australian boat.
Yeah, that means you're sailing as close to the wind as you can. They're saying, OK, we're not sure there's going to be too much wind. Let's minimise the distance.
Let's see how we look.
Right, Emirates Great Britain right of way. Bons Flying Roos must keep clear, and they'll also want to try and stay on a lane. Oh, Emirates GBR cut the corner here. They must be very confident of making the breeze, making the next mark, sorry.
Looked like quite a quick decision to make that tack there, but they've executed it really nicely to put themselves in a commanding position in front.
So here we go, leg 5 of 6 in race at number 6, and the race is on as they approach the final gate. It is a drag race to the Emirates finish line. It is Emirates GBR in the lead, and here come the Bons Flying Roos.
That's a straight shot to the finish. They're on fire.
Back-to-back wins for Emirates GBR as they cross the line and win race number 6 on a newly repaired boat.
That was tight. It's going to all still be happening in the pack. Very nice work indeed. But Bons Flying Roos, well, that's great news for them. Germany, they've been very aggressive with the Canadians there, holding them off the course. But this could be a good move here for the German team. They look pretty secure in third. They just need to get foiling. Here it comes, here it comes. They're foiling there. Look at that, beautiful.
Nice work, Anna. Where's the finish? Nice, straight.
See how hard it is out there. So hard when it's changing as much to keep your orientation even on this race course, moving around the course so quickly.
So Germany will bring it back, and in front of the fans, they are on their feet as the hometown team, Germany Deutsche Bank, will finish in third, and that will help their cause with one more race to go to see if they can make it into the event final. Top 3, Emirates GBR, Australia, and Germany with one race left.
Can't wait to get up into that Oracle cloud and see the race to the final right now, Todd, because the Kiwis are back to a 5th. That's where the Black Foils have got up to. Rockwool, Denmark 6th, Spain 7th. There's still going to be barely any points in it for that 3rd place in the final. I think right now Australia should have already booked their ticket, and Emirates Great Britain must be looking pretty strong.
Ready to make the start? Start soon.
Rockwell, Denmark, they'll check in with 6th. Disappointing finish again for last year's season champions, Los Gallos, as they finish in 7th. And the French, Stevie, man, after that great start to start today, they have just not been themselves.
Yeah, you just get a little out of shape. I say one bad manoeuvre can suddenly throw you off, and if you don't do a good job of resetting, it can really affect the rest of your race. I mean, you know, their coach will no doubt be listening in on all the comms, trying to work out where things are going well and not quite going well. But the simple fact is, if you're in the lead, you get to make the decision and you get to choose your own destiny.
s'est fait chier à prendre la gauche.
Eh, défends pas là.
So the Italians will limp their way home. They will finish in 9th place, just ahead of the Swiss, who will finish in 10th. And that means race 6 has come to a conclusion, with the rest of the fleet now already talking about the final race of the day, race number 7. So here we go, 1:15 to go. There you see the standings as Spain has a 1-point lead. New Zealand, Great Britain, your top 3. And that's where you need to be, the top 3 by the end of racing tomorrow.
Well, it already worked to do for teams like Australia. Big race ahead.
I think we've seen some teams do a really good job of entering the start box and coming off cleanly off the line, but we've also had some absolute shockers for some of the teams, so they'll really be looking to make kind of amends for the last 3 races and get off that line really well.
So all 12 teams in the start box now as we approach 40 seconds to go for the final fleet race today. France way out the back, Stevie, and Emirates GBR late to the party.
Yeah, the French have rolled the dice here. They're planning on there being a gap at the top of the line, which maybe there will be, maybe there won't, but there's a famous thing that says hope is not a good strategy. So Delapierre might need to change things up here. He's going to be lit up like a Christmas tree coming in here, but I don't know where the gap's going to be. He's rolling across the front. This is some move by Delapierre here. Oh, he spins it in front and he's got to park it. He's going to struggle to park. The Blackfalls, they're going to be off the corner of the course here. Rottwell, Denmark out the middle of the line are well positioned here. Mubadala, Brazil again. The whole fleet's going wide here. Big rotation and the Bond's flying Rouge. Oh, I think he's over early.
Early start penalty, Australia.
Oh, that's a shocker, and it's going to be the Germans that are going to be miles ahead at Mark 1 from here. Slingsby is going to blow up about that one.
So they have to fall behind the fleet, and look at the speeds, 97 kilometers an hour, as Germany Deutsche Bank will get the whole shot in the 4th race today.
Oh, Eric Heil, they nailed the start there, did a brilliant job. Slingsby was literally about 20 centimetres, travelling at 19 metres a second early for that start. Oh, it was near perfection for the Bond Flying Rouge, but Hero turned to 0 there.
So now it is on this last race. Look at the Bond's Flying Rouge, and I have a feeling that Tom Slingsby is going to borrow a term from you, Stevie, drive it like he stole it.
He's going to be having to put a big comeback. Huge race for the Bond Flying Rouge now, but we know how well they do when they're motivated and fired up. Blackfoils have manoeuvred into a lot of wind here. We can see the Blackfoils and Mubadala, Brazil sailing nearly straight down the course. They will be gaining here, and they need to make some gains. Blackfoils have had a pretty good day so far, as of Emirates Great Britain, but Spain, well, they're out the back at the moment, and they need a top 3 here if they've got any hope of the grand final.
3, 2, 1. Heading up.
Look at those speeds at the DP World Gate, gate number 2.
All the way.
You can hear the voice of Stuart Bithell there, the wing trimmer on Germany.
Oh, Rottwell, Denmark, they lost control, got off too high on the foils, couldn't manoeuvre up. Massive error there. They just got so loose coming in that fight. If you're too fast, you can't turn the boat up. You've got to kill a bit of speed to be able to turn it into the breeze. Rottwell, Denmark came in absolutely hammer down. Couldn't turn the thing up, and they've lost 6 places in the blink of an eye.
Yeah, don't underestimate how hard it is to actually slow the boat down in that moment before you make that turn. So they'll be kicking themselves on board there, but time to catch up. They'll be doing the best they can.
And what's going on with Los Gallos? They are in the back of the pack in 12th. France sits in 11th. North Star Canada having their issues on the left side of the screen at the bottom of the course. They're in 10th, almost at a dead stop.
Similar issue, Tom. They just coming in a bit fast, couldn't quite control the roundup and in the flight control situation. A lot of disgruntled sailors out there need a serious reset on a lot of boats. We come back to the start here and we can see the Germans. Look at that on Mark 1 as we see the German team go flying round us there. Rottwell, Denmark, well, they were in second, of course, until that error down at the bottom gate. We can just see so fast into Mark 1, but everything really split out.
And that pre-start, Stevie, I mean, there's just not enough real estate. And once one boat went for that right-hand side, everyone followed. But Conte de la Pera, this is the guy that lit the fuse.
Well, he was out of position and he repositioned quite well, but he maybe didn't do enough. But what it did do is a big rotation in the wind. We saw it last time. Big right shift meant they couldn't make the start there. And a lot of teams, big teams, were way down and back on the water. The Germans, well, they're making it go pretty well here, keeping things well positioned. They'll be looking to block the wind onto Emirates Great Britain. Here we go, simultaneous manoeuvres.
There you see Germany Deutsche Bank, Eric Kosgarten-Heil in his 2nd season at SailGP, looking for a big win here.
And he's putting disturbed wind onto Emirates GBR from their textbook manoeuvre for the Germans. They're going to look for a right turn at the top here. We can see right now, well, the wind's pretty different where the Swiss are. They've got a lot of breeze, and Switzerland need a good race here. They're getting it at the moment. There's a big turn up in the overall standings right now. Were things to stay as they are.
Best race of the day for the Americans, US SailGP, Taylor Canfield. They are currently sitting in 4th place, winners of their last race, and that is Red Bull Italy. They sit in 7th.
2, 1 slow turn. Fast turn, coming down.
There we go, a little bit of a change of strategy, Stuart Biff for the wind trimmer there, saying we can spin it fast if you want it to Eric Heil. As we see now a split on the course by Emirates Great Britain. Fletcher rolls the dice. Will this be a gain? It looked like a lot of wind on the German boat. Look at that, they're fast out of the gate there. It's going to be interesting to see what comes out right. And in the pack, New Zealand, Australia, can they make some crucial overtakes on this last lap?
Here we go at gate number 3 on to leg number 4. And the question that everyone wants to know is, where is the wind? For that, we check in down on the water. Lisa Darman, and what can you tell us? Where's the sweet spot on the course right now?
Oh, it's chaos out here, to be honest, Todd. It's changing every minute. I mean, these athletes normally make it look easy, but everyone's making it look hard. And that just goes to show how difficult it is. I think the angle is with Emirates Great Britain. They've picked a beautiful angle right now compared to, say, the black foils. And then over on the far side, Rockwool, Denmark, they've got the hammer down.
Yes, they do indeed, Stevie. They learned their lesson. They've moved all the way back up to 6th place. Here's the race to the final.
Yeah, they're doing it so tight we can see, but it'd be big for Germany. They'd get themselves right in the hunt. I think where the black foils have gone, they might have been out of position for a moment, but they're in a lot of wind now, and they've really cut a serious amount of distance. They were 7th. Halfway up the leg before. They're now looking like they're 4th, could easily be 3rd. Black foils are really picking their way around the course, and Australia are right back in the game here. Slingsby, well, he loves a fight. He's got a fight, and he's back in it.
Hannah, look at these angles. I mean, you look at Brazil, you look at Switzerland, Australia, New Zealand, they're almost straight at it.
Yeah, that's right. And it can make it quite difficult to pick your gate mark out of the bottom, because it might be that you go against the bias of the direction you're sailing at the moment. And don't forget, they're lining themselves up for this final mark of the course after this, where they turn left towards the finish. So it's not just about what's happening right now, it's about what your next mark plan is as well.
Yeah, tricky manoeuvre here. New Zealand, oh, they didn't have a... Oh, it's tight in the pack there! Wow. Switzerland late to manoeuvre on the Kiwis. Wow, they maybe didn't see them. That was so tight. The black foils have avoided. Is there an overlap? Australia have the right here. Burling must give space. Slingsby's back in the game.
No doubt about that. Tom Slingsby was going to slot it in there. If he had an inch, he was going to take it. And that's exactly what he does. And look at this. The Bonds Flying Ruse now into 3rd.
What a comeback this would be here. We're going to have Simo-Tax on the boundary here. Australia manoeuvre first, but they've cemented that lead change against New Zealand.
Penalty Italy, relative Denmark.
Craig Mitchell ruling out the penalty on Italy, so Denmark will go ahead of them. The Italians will drop back to 7th place. The battle is on, though, as Emirates GBR now has moved into 1st.
On Canada parking in front of Australia, they had to keep clear, and they've come crashing down off the foils there.
And a penalty to the Bonds Flying Ruse. And the word is they did not give enough room to the black foils at the mark.
Well, I'm surprised. They must have not been overlapped, so it would have been the other way round, where New Zealand didn't need to give Australia room, is all I can think there. It looked very tight to me, but they do have the data in the umpap that will give it the distance to within millimetres. So I'll bow to the judgment of the umpires there, but it's a lead change. Australia have to let New Zealand past, and I'll look forward to hearing the feedback on that after racing.
As they come down the home stretch, it was a tight race all the way through all 6 legs, but in the end, the Emirates winning moment goes the way of Emirates GBR. Dylan Fletcher and company take a bow in race number 4.
3, 2, 1.
Great race, though, Stevie, for Germany Deutsche Bank. They were in the mix. Eric Coastgarten-Heil and his crew really rock solid in 2nd place, and it looks like 3rd's going to go the way of Butler Brazil and Martini Grail.
We can see a tight race here. New Zealand and Australia in a sprint to the finish. Australia managed to burn off that penalty somewhere up that upwind leg, and they're going to hang on to a 4th. What a result for the Bonds Flying Ruse. This is absolutely crucial, and they delivered when they had to.
Tom Slingsby should be a little happier than he was at the end of the last race as they hold on to that position, just edging out.
Penalty, USA. Not giving Mark room. Go behind France.
Oh, it's going to be a big loss for the United States here. They've got to go all the way behind the French.
Behind the French, make sure you leave.
Trying to keep us going.
It's going to be hard to manage it versus Rockwool Denmark, but Rockwool Denmark have made a bit of a hash of their turn away at the mark there. They were slow, couldn't deal with the power coming on, and Rockwool Denmark are going to lose some places here.
So the USA will have to give up that 7th to the French. They'll drop back to, they'll give the 6th. They'll drop back to 7th. Good for a team that was really struggling for performance. And as they finish as high as 4th early in that race, they will finish officially in 7th. At the line, it looks like it's going to be Rockwool Denmark getting the 8th. The 9th goes to Switzerland. Wow. I mean, Lisa, it is topsy-turvy. Lisa Darman had talked about it, Stevie. It's chaos down there with the conditions just all over the place.
Yeah, it's variable. It's quite choppy, the course, and they're very much, it's so on and off breeze-wise, I think, is the problem. It's either really, really windy, and they're feeling super powered up on these small wings, or there's not enough power for them, and they're struggling to then get the flow over the wing. So it's a really, really hard day. And yeah, I've got to say, the fleet did look relatively average out there in these conditions, which is just something we don't normally say.
And crazy how the consistency works, Hannah, because we saw the team right here, Red Bull Italy, win the last race, and they come this run and they finish in 11th.
Yeah, and you can just see how that's showing how difficult the conditions are. And, you know, Stevie, you mentioned the sailors generally make these boats look pretty easy to sail, but today that's just not the case. So you've got to be really in sync with the conditions, happy sailing the boat to get a good result in each race.
Tough day for Spain in race number 3. They finished in 2nd. They finished dead last in race number 4. Hannah, we turn to you now. With that setup that Lisa's reported on and these conditions, who do you think is going to be favorable today in these conditions?
Well, I think it's a configuration we've seen a little bit of this season, so very similar to Geneva last weekend. But I think it's going to be tricky with the sea state, definitely different.
48 seconds away from the start of race number 1. We're scheduled for 4 races today here at the penultimate event before we get to Abu Dhabi and the grand final. So Stevie Morrison, here we go. This is the calm before the storm. Let the dance begin.
Early back to the line, it's the United States. Canada towards that bottom end, look good position at the moment. Favoured place to start suggests to be just up from the downwind end of the line. That should give you that perfect combination of speed and distance towards Mark 1. At the moment, the Rolex pole predictor sits on board the United States. There's a tussle between the black foils and Rockwool Denmark. Top of the line's going to be a big fight. This start will be crucial. Rockwool Denmark have got the black foils pinned at the moment. What's Berlin going to do? I don't see a gap. He's going to get held out. Germany come threading the needle here. Eric Heil on fire. What a start by the Germans.
Penalty Denmark.
Over the line, Denmark, they got to go to the back. Brazil, from a penalty in the pre-start, must also drop behind the fleet, and it's the Swiss and Great Britain at the bottom of the line that are going to be leading at Mark 1.
So as Rockwool tried to hold out the black foils, it is going to cost them. And as they get to mark number 1, it is the Swiss that look to have the whole shot. Great job by Sebastian Schneider with the Americans, Emirates GBR, and the Germans all in play.
Todd, we're on board the Swiss boat here, but look at how difficult this sea state is. The boats are all yawing around here. Slight up and downs. They're coming into the fans on the shore. This manoeuvre's crucial as they turn back into the less wind under the fleet.
1 board. 2, 1, and turning.
Yeah, really critical timing for that manoeuvre there, so they've got to land this manoeuvre and stay on the foils if they want to lead to the bottom gates.
All kinds of chaos, Stevie. I was going to say on the right-hand side, you've got Brazil going wide, Denmark getting back in the mix, France a delayed starter, Australia pretty much in the back of the pack, and out front you've got Switzerland, Emirates GBR, and Germany Deutsche Bank, the top 3, and Dylan Fletcher and the Brits, Stevie, may be the best placed team.
Well, this is amazing for the British. Remember, we had a race to the final. The race to the Abu Dhabi final was happening to the right-hand side of our screen there, with New Zealand, Australia, and Spain out the back. But yeah, Dylan Fletcher, he started well this season, Todd. They're having to go 2 boards in, not quite laying it to the mark. Swiss must give room, but as soon as they exit the mark, the British are going to be under serious attack from Sehested. Snyder, sorry, it's going to be Snyder on the Swiss boat. It's going to put the clamps here onto the British boat. British must keep clear, but he's just done enough to push them wide. Hear the frustration on that Swiss boat there. The British did a great job. It's a slow speed tack for the British. They'll struggle to stay on the foils from here. Talk about struggling to foil. Right hand side of screen, Australia, Spain and New Zealand are out the back, and that battle to the final is going to go on all weekend.
So the top 5 teams split at the DP World Gate, gate number 2. The U.S. really getting slow there as they finally cross around the gate. And on the other side, you see Germany Deutsche Bank and Red Bull Italy battling for 3rd and 4th.
Bit of gas. Okay.
Australia and New Zealand in a tight situation with the Swiss here. That was so close. Oh, the Swiss had the right of way there. New Zealand potentially had to give Australia room, but could the Aussies have moved sooner? Might have heard from the umpire, Craig Mitchell there. The Spanish are off the foils. Spain are off the foils in the middle of the pack. It's right between the condition where you can foil or not. If you're in clear wind, you're up and going. Oh, they're struggling to get going. There's no wind in the middle there. Once the fleets move down, there's so much disturbed wind that it's hard to get back and foiling. You make one mistake, which is easily done in these foiling conditions. Lisa, try and give us a bit of a feel for the sea state down there.
It's really bumpy out here, Stevie, but what I was saying before, it's bumpy, but it's light wind, which means you're just getting on the foils, but the waves are just massive speed bumps. So if you do foil off the foils, to build the speed necessary to get back and up on the foils and ripping, is just really way more punishing than we've seen before. So it's really tough out here. The wind is increasing, which is helping, but it's still, as I would say, the toughest foiling conditions we've seen.
So if you fall off the foliage, you're going to take your lumps, as Emirates GBR is going to hand the lead over to the Swiss right now. They have the right of way, the Swiss do. This was a moment ago on the bottom right-hand side. Look how close this is.
Yeah, that was on that first leg in towards the start here, and New Zealand and Rockwool, Denmark got in a big fight. The Kiwis had to move out of the way in the pre-start. They got themselves trapped at the back. There's been incidents galore in the free. I think what's important to remember, the boats here we can see on the screen, they're doing 40 kilometres an hour, where there's only 10 kilometres an hour of wind. Okay, so that's because as the boat moves, it generates its own wind. If you stop moving, you've suddenly got an awful lot less wind and an awful lot less power, an awful lot less speed. So these boats have got to be doing 30 kilometres an hour to finish, to actually foil. And I just think it's incredibly easy to fall off the foils today. And if you do, it's disastrous. Spain and New Zealand, 11th and 12th.
Not what Los Gallos was looking for here in the opening race. Remember, we've got 3 more races, but right now it is being controlled by Emirates GBR out in front, Switzerland 2nd, Germany Deutsche Bank in 3rd.
Yeah, and look at that, we've got a penalty on Australia, Todd, for that tight incident with New Zealand. Australia have to drop back behind the Kiwis, which they have now done to clear their penalty. So the 3 boats in the race to the final are the last 3 on the water. Oh, it's going to go long, long this weekend. Points galore.
Yeah, fine.
A huge split in the fleet from the front to the back here, so it's going to be really hard work for those boats who fell off the foils on leg 2 just to be able to catch up and salvage a result in this first race.
All kinds of chaos right now, and now you see a nice tight crossing between Denmark, Emirates GBR, and it will be Nikolai Sehested just sliding behind the Brits and the Swiss. He's got Canada off to the right-hand side. Meanwhile, Dylan Fletcher's got to love seeing this. He sees the Blackfoils, he sees Australia, and he sees Spain way behind him.
Yeah, and he's setting up nicely here. He knows the Swiss are going to have to take a left turn. So whilst the British might have been able to make a right turn if they wanted, they're keeping it simple, keeping the boat fast. Speed's your friend out here today. You've got to be fast when you manoeuvre the boat to hope to stay on the foil. Switzerland have gone really wide, sailing a lot of... Here we go. This was the incident here. New Zealand... And Australia could have turned away sooner. They then forced New Zealand to sail a direction they didn't want to go. New Zealand had the right of way. Australia were deemed to have not given them space to sail the course they wanted. And it was all a bit late from the Australians. Big penalty, because in this, they forced New Zealand and the Blackfoils off the foils. And that penalty's really hurt Slingsby at the moment.
Yeah, not far, okay.
We will keep you posted on who is where, but right now it is Emirates GBR way out in front, Switzerland in 2nd, Germany Deutsche Bank in 3rd, US SailGP in a good position in 4th right now, with Red Bull Italy rounding out the top 5.
Up from here, mate. Target 38.
Germany, USA, Italy and Brazil, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Some of the teams that mid-season were struggling and really starting to find some form here at the end of Season 5. Perhaps Season 5's gone for them, but of course they will be looking ahead already. Another incident coming here between the Blackfoils and the Aussies.
Will be coming in on port.
Australia have the right of way when the boats are both out of the circle. If New Zealand wants to turn left, they would be entitled to, but he's got to be sure he's clear ahead here, or Slingsby will press the button and ask the question of Chief Umpire Craig Mitchell. Oh, it's tight, but I think he was clear.
All the way down.
Yeah, interesting that they've chosen to sail quite a lot further distance there, crossing ahead of the Australians, but then ultimately taking a long time to get around that right turn.
Leg 6 of 6 if you're on board Emirates GBR on race number 1 here at the DP World Spain Sail Grand Prix Andalusia Cádiz, part of the Rolex SailGP Championship, and drawing first blood here on the Atlantic Ocean, it will be Dylan Fletcher and Emirates GBR that win race 1.
Well, that'll shake off a few nerves on that British boat. I'm sure they've got to be, you know, looking ahead towards this race to the final in Abu Dhabi. Second overall on the leaderboard at the moment, but with their main rivals out the back, that takes a little bit of pressure off them. Although Australia, we can see now, working their way back through the fleet, they've overtaken the black foils on this downwind leg, and despite, you know, being towards the back of the pack, we know when the end of the weekend comes, points count. So whether it be 9th and 10th, if you can gain 1 point, you'll take it.
The Swiss finish in 2nd place, and it looks like US SailGP, Taylor Canfield and his crew will come across in 3rd. So a top 3 finish for the Americans, and Germany Deutsche Bank now just making the turn for home. Meanwhile, the battle now rages on. Who is going to do what and salvage what points, Stevie and Hannah, out the back? You look at the bottom of the fleet, 9, 10, 11, or 12, those are usually boats and teams that are at the top 4 positions.
Yeah, it just shows how easy it can be to find yourself at the back of the fleet and really no way back in these conditions. So lots of emphasis on the start and getting away cleanly for the next race.
Yeah, New Zealand did a great manoeuvre there. I think it's just interesting to watch the boats as they move through the water. They're just really rocking up and down. They're rolling a lot more than we're used to. We've got 2 of the best flight controllers in the world here, and the boats just look unstable out here. It's like trying to drive a Formula 1 car down a country lane, basically. It's really unstable ground. It's bouncing around, and while the suspension, it's human controlled on these boats.
Germany playing 4th place. Brazil, Mubadala Brazil will come across in 5th, just ahead of Red Bull Italy. They finish in 6th. But now the battle is on to see who can restore order, and there you see the top teams battling for those final 3 positions. Emirates GBR guys, they are safe and home. They are already debriefing, taking on hydration. Meanwhile, the battle continues on. What is New Zealand? What is Bond's Flying Ruse? And what are the Spanish going to do here? Spain, Steve Lee, I got to think Los Gallos cannot finish in 12th.
Well, they can't, but they're off the foils. The New Zealand boat, the black foils, are off the foils. That's advantage Australia. It was a little bit of bad language a moment ago there. Got to apologise for that. You know, the fleet obviously really struggling with these conditions, but the black foils, look at this, they've obviously made a mistake, fallen off the foils. They are really slow. It's a big acceleration from there. Spain, another error. Boundary penalty there. They've sailed wide on the course, and they're going to get penalised, and they're off the foils as well. So easy to make a mistake and fall off the foils.
So that is going to keep them mired in 12th place. Meanwhile, Rockwell Racing Denmark, looks like they're going to hold on for an 8th.
It could be crucial, the Australians there. They've managed to go from 11th, 12th up to 9th. It's not the result they want, of course, but you take a 9th rather than an 11th here. And the black foils in Spain, 3rd and 4th overall. And wow, it's really easy to end up at the back of the pack. There's no respect for your ranking out here in the water in Cádiz.
And we've always said throughout the last 3 seasons or so, you can have one bad race with 4 races. And you can have it happen, but Tom Slingsby already not happy. They will finish in 9th. France will hold on for 10th.
It's a really interesting one. It would have been so tight, that rules situation. Everything's happening so quick in the middle of the pack.
Unfortunately for the hometown team, the defending champions from season 4, Los Gallos, they will finish dead last.
Well, the good news for the Spanish team, Todd, is that I think it'll be easy for any team to have a bad one out here today. This is the first race, not the last race, so they've got a chance to grow into the event. Anyone that's ahead at Mark 1 is probably going to take a lot of beating, and getting past this, you know, it's going to come down to this trigger at the gun and getting that speed right. But there is more space on the course, as Lisa said. That just means there's more options for all the crews. You can get the space to be fast.
1 minute to go until we start the event final. Let's break it down for you like this. Emirates GBR have won 2 events this year. The Black Foils of New Zealand, they have won 2 events this year. Germany Deutsche Bank won the last event. They are looking for their 2nd event this year.
Yeah, I mean, all this quality, there's quality out here in this start, that's for sure. 2 of these boats look pretty well set to be in the grand final, so they'll be enjoying the chance of a dress rehearsal. First team to manoeuvre back will probably be the Black Foils here. They're all a little late turning back with 30 seconds to go, so it's going to be a long run-up start. High speed, wind-ups. Looks like Emirates GBR want to be at the downwind end on the inside. Plenty of space between the boats. Oh, the British are outside the boundary. They're going to need to start behind the other boats here. That's a disaster. Germany with a lot of space. He will be able to wind it up. All the boats are coming back at the line fast. Black Foils look well positioned to me. It's all about the line. That'll be to the right-hand side of the screen and that turning white. Black Foils are going to be gun time, but it's going to be fast on Deutsche Germany. Oh, they were all late there, Todd, but the Black Foils were less late than the others. They're on the inside. They've got a big advantage. That penalty will leave Emirates GBR, but they're going to be 3rd with a lot of work to do at Mark 1.
And as they approach mark number 1, it's the Black Foils that are pushing Germany Deutsche Bank wide. Meanwhile, Emirates GBR is saying thank you very much as they approach mark 1. Do they have the speed, though, to get underneath the Kiwis?
Yeah, brilliant by the Kiwis there. What they've tried to do is just open it up so they're just ahead of the British, but heading downwind already, and then tangle the Germans and the British up into a bit of a fight. They maybe slightly overdid it, but you see the British and the Germans are going to end up in a bit of a private battle. First to manoeuvre Emirates GBR. They'll be following the Black Foils, and it's going to come down to executing a good manoeuvre here.
Rolex Sprint Leader, that award goes the way of the Kiwis. A masterful job by Pete Burling as he just timed it perfectly and then made life difficult for Germany Deutsche Bank and Eric Coastgarten Heil.
He might have slightly overdone it. He's given the door a little bit of a hint of opening over the British here, and he's going to manoeuvre away at the bottom. There will be a split. I think Burling was perhaps a little bit too greedy on that first leg, but they lead at gate 2. There's a split, so it's going to be who finds the most breeze on this downwind leg, upwind leg.
When we want to find breeze, we check in down on the water with Lisa Darman. And Lisa, who made the right call right there? Do you like the position of the Brits or the Kiwis?
I really like the position of the Brits. I think with later in the day, under that seawall, has looked really dangerous. The British, they've also probably been sailing better all day as well. I think they're more locked in these conditions.
All right, so the Germans are in 3rd. It is Emirates GBR in front. The next crossing handle will obviously be critical to see who's made what gains.
Yeah, really critical. We've seen there's been quite big gains and losses out of this bottom end of the course, but something to note as well, they've dropped down to 4 people on board. So the strategists who were at the back of the boat are now forwards, grinding, providing the power for the wing. So it's the team that adapts the quickest who's going to have an advantage.
Advantage Emirates GBR here, Todd. They have the right of way, and they've definitely made a slight gain by taking that left turn. The Kiwis have done an extra manoeuvre at this point in the race than the British. So it was a little bit too aggressive from Burling, I feel, on that first leg. And he could go all the way back to 3rd here. Emirates GBR now, clear breeze. They have command of the decision-making here. They can get first pick at the fruit on the tree. And it's going to be interesting to see which ones they take. They've got a big lead. And if they can keep it safe from here, they've got a good chance to extend.
Oh, you saw the boat rocking just a little bit there, Hannah. That's obviously from the sea state that they've been fighting all day.
Yeah, and the sea state tends to pick up as the breeze settles in for a little bit more. So whereas at the beginning of the day it was slightly flatter, but the teams will be getting used to it by now, and the space on the course means that it should be a little bit less disturbed for them.
So the fans that made the trip from the UK very happy to see right now that Emirates GBR is out in front. But did they do enough here? Did they make the right call? Look at the speed on the mast of the Black Foils, tipping now 34 kilometers an hour.
Yeah, and the British just had a little touchdown in that manoeuvre. They did a great job of saying it right of way with the Black Foils. Looks like it's favoured to the left turn, distance to sail-wise, which would mean one more manoeuvre for the British. And right of way with the Black Foils. Will the British try and shut the door on the Black Foils here? That's what we're going to find out. Could be another split at the top of the course.
So they're already talking about the final leg.
Yeah, well, because of the geometry of the manoeuvres around the course, you'll want to know, do I want to take this mark and make a small loss now to set myself up better for that left turn at the bottom of the course? If the British can get the left turn at the bottom with 2 manoeuvres, I think that's the advantage they're looking for, and they've got a good lead here. They've got that advantage, and I think they should be able to make it stick when they get the advantage of right of way coming back towards the Kiwis. Ooh, that's high.
They've gone early. Little light on stand by. Yep. I got it.
Looks like maybe a game for the Blackfoils here, Todd. The breeze is so packed. A huge game for the Blackfoils. They just sailed less distance upwind, less distance downwind. Massive game there for the Blackfoils. Burling's found a little bit of magic at the top of the course, and it's now going to be, what do they choose? Can they lock down the race? Both boats heading different directions at the moment. They're out of phase as they head down towards gate number 4. The Blackfoils will desperately, desperately want to get themselves in front of an Emirates GBR and on the same tack.
Well, Pete Burling and the Blackfoils in New Zealand were locked out of the top 5 at the last event in Geneva in light winds, and they are making amends for that here right now as they get their sights set on the finish line here in Cádiz, and then the big prize next month in Abu Dhabi.
I kind of feel like left turn at the bottom's the move here. We saw a big gain to Emirates GBR. Might be a dynamic situation. Lisa, is it still looking good for that left turn at the bottom?
I think it is, but I think the real difference here is Emirates Great Britain just look a little bit more wobbly in their manoeuvres, so they had a little touchdown. The real question is, can they turn left and just do one more manoeuvre to mark 1? Whereas the New Zealand team turning right, they will have to do 2.
And our apologies if your broadcast feed is glitching. Some on-site RF interference in Cádiz, not part of SailGP, but the local area, massive amount of external interference. But the racing goes on. Here we go, is leg 4 of 6. It'll be up to the next gate and a left-hand turn to the finish line. Will it be the Kiwis or will it be the Brits that take top honors here in Spain?
The Kiwis are going to want to come in really quite close to that final mark where they'll have the right of way. Emirates GBR are going to want to get to the ley line and be fast. So there's a few questions we'll find out in the next 30 seconds.
Yeah, we have seen this already before with Emirates GBR taking a left turn, Blackfoils taking a right turn. Emirates GBR opting for one less manoeuvre, but the Kiwis did manage to come back and just make it inside for that left turn at the top. So it's going to be really close.
Kiwis are foiling already up there. Our ladder lines show it as a slight advantage to Emirates GBR, but their manoeuvres to come, and the manoeuvres do cost you about 100 metres each time you turn the boat here. It looks like advantage to the Blackfoils, but they've got one more manoeuvre to do themselves.
Inside the zone.
Yeah, that's the zone on this final turning mark. If the Kiwis are on the inside of it, they'll have the right of way. If not, Emirates GBR have right of way. Look at Fletcher leaning over the side of the boat, willing it on.
And here we go, the moment of the match. It is the Kiwis that pull right in front of the Brits.
Oh, he's going to try and get underneath them, and Hushcombe here. The Kiwis have got to keep not overlap. They've got the right of way on Emirates GBR. The Blackfoils must keep clear. Aggressive from Fletcher. Here we go. He's going to wind the Kiwis up. They're going to glide through. What a move by the British. Absolute clutch moment in the race. And Emirates GBR are going to get it done on the line, I think.
At the final gate, Dylan Fletcher goes full Air Jordan as he dips underneath the Kiwis and puts himself in a winning position here in Spain.
Oh, if that's a dress rehearsal for Abu Dhabi,
oh
what
my
a move
goodness.
that was. Oh, and the Germans, they're up and foiling. They could move through to second here. The Blackfoils need to accelerate, and they need to accelerate fast.
And they will cross the line with a victory in Spain. Give it up for Emirates GBR.
Fletcher completely on his instincts there. Absolute instincts.
I'll tell you what, that is a gutsy move on the Atlantic Ocean as the Brits come to Spain and claim top prize. 10 points to the winner, all the way down to no points for 11th and 12th as we come up on 1:12 to go. And then we'll get the 1 minute klaxon fire up, and look at the British a little late into the box, and look how tight it is as everyone goes to the back and then cycles their way through. It is fully on here at Abu Dhabi.
Oh, and Australia were chasing the Spanish in there, but both teams found a way out. Slingsby still tries to chase him. That's a brick wall, Tom. Careful. Oh, he's managed to spin the boat, but the Spanish trying to run away from the Australians. Not only have you got to beat 11 other of the best teams in the world, you've got the all-time most successful team. Oh, boundary penalty, Australia, though. He's pushed it too hard. Didn't keep clear. A windward boat keeps clear. Oh, it was a windward boat keeping clear. It wasn't boundary. Oh, that's massive. They're going to have to start behind the fleet unless they can clear this penalty with a couple of manoeuvres.
Let's tack over. Just a 2 tack.
You can do 2 tacks. You can turn the boat through the wind twice. That's one way of clearing the penalty. He thinks he's got enough time to do that and then still hopefully have a run up at the start line. Italy lead the fleet back though well at the moment. Canada well positioned at the top of the line here. They should be able to really wind it up. Black foils are in the middle of the pack. Switzerland turn the boat towards the line. It's all about acceleration. 5 seconds, 3 seconds. Line's going to turn white. We're racing. Switzerland are absolutely on the money, as a North Star Canada. And North Star Canada first to the foils. They should fly over the fleet from here to Mark 1.
And we are off and running. The final Super Sunday of the 2025 season.
Oh, Los Gaios are in the inside, Todd. They're going to struggle to get round without a lot of boats ahead of them.
North Star Canada gets the whole shot. Germany, Deutsche Bank looking good. Red Bull, Italy, and then France.
So tight, Mark 1. The Spanish are back in the pack again. Fletcher's rolling over the top. Black foils are not on the foils. They've come down off the foils there. As soon as you're back in the pack, Hannah, it's just so hard to find that space to be fast.
Yeah, there's a lot of disturbed air, especially as all the teams converge at Mark 1. So if you can get up and foiling, it's a big advantage. But that first manoeuvre, all important to lead the way back to gate 2.
I think they should be nailing it. North Star Canada, huge opportunity. Gate 2's big. It's very far apart, the marks.
Left gate's easy. Let's stay on the foil. Fleet's going to be coming back out. I think clearer air is left turn.
Keep it simple. That seems like a good strategy to me from board the North Star Canada team there. They're saying there's potentially less distance to turn right, but let's just stay on the foil, stay fast, as we see a bit of a penalty on board the British boat there, potentially relative to the French, so they're going to have to kill a bit of distance.
So as we crunch these numbers, Stevie, you see Australia sitting in 11th place right now. Spain is currently sitting in 7th, and this is the all-important race. You've already mentioned Emirates GBR and the Black Foals of New Zealand. They're pretty much safely in that grind final. It's down to 2 boats.
It's down to 2, but I think what we've got to keep in mind on here is those penalty points that the Swiss got for the collision and Brazil also picked up means the pack, the overall points are so tight. Now what Spain need is to finish 3 places with 3 boats in between themselves and the Australians in the overall rankings. Not just in one race, but in the overall of these next 2 races. But New Zealand have a boundary penalty. They've got to get rid of that. They've got to lose 20 metres relative to people. That should come off quite easily, I'd have thought. But Los Gaios have got boats between themselves, Australia, but it's all about what they can do on the ladder here.
Just go straight.
They're still behind in the race to the grand final at the moment. Oh, Spain, that must have been boat on boat with Canada. They didn't see them. It's so hard with less people on board.
Okay, we're making them out. Are we clear already?
All kinds of different modes out on the water. There you see Los Gaios, Spain, the defending champions from last year, up and foiling. Penalty has still not gone away. Yesterday, they raced with 3 people on board. Today, because of the breeze, they are up to 4.
And it's still hard to see, when you're low on numbers, it's hard seeing everything, isn't it, Anna, ultimately? I mean, just knowing where all these other boats are on the course is pretty confusing.
Yeah, there's plenty of jobs on board just to do to keep the boat sailing, and someone's got to be keeping their eye out for other boats where you are on the course. So these sailors are going to be busy when they're sailing 4 up.
This is leg 3 of 6, race number 5. One more fleet race before the grand final. North Star Canada has the lead. Had a decent day yesterday. Canada came in with some solid results, finishing 2nd in race number 1. They dropped back to 6th in race number 2. Race number 3, they fell all the way down. And then it was race number 4 where the Canadians finished in 9th.
Well, see the British here have managed to find some space and they're going fast. Lisa, the breeze out there, is it really patchy? It seems like the British are on a charge at the moment.
Yeah, it's super patchy out here, so you might be in one bit of breeze and somebody 50 metres away from you is in a different point of breeze. But in general, where the British went, seems like there's more pressure out that way. But really, it's about getting clear air, finding some space, just so you can pop on the foils. Not many people are nailing the foiling manoeuvres out here. It's very much a touch and go, so a lot of technique involved.
There you see Emirates GBR, they have moved up to 3rd place. You saw Hannah Mills, the strategist, manning the handles. North Star Canada, Giles Scott leads this race. And Germany, Deutsche Bank, one of the hottest teams in SailGP over the last few events, they currently sit in 2nd.
Yeah, right of way with the British here, but they choose to turn directly in front of the Canadians. They're going to really throw some disturbed wind onto the Canadian boat. Hope to stop them foiling from here. France at the top of screen have space and have the right of way, but they're going to need to get foiling to get themselves back in it. 4 boats, absolutely nothing between them here. France could well lead at gate 3.
take some height early if you want. I've got plenty of power in the bank.
We heard Dylan Fletcher say earlier they were looking to go one and in right turns. They'll be really hoping to cross the French here with no issues.
Top 3 teams right now going H1, 1 hole in the air as they approach this third gate.
On the mark.
You just saw the sort of white flakes coming off the wing there. That's not a glitch in the system. The matrix has not broken, glad to say. That's just sort of demonstrating where the disturbed air comes off the wind. If you were in that area behind and downwind of the British, you'd be getting less wind, less horsepower, and potentially going a lot slower. Late move by Canada. Didn't feel like they saw them there. They've absolutely parked. Should have seen the French earlier. Costly arrow. Big turn down for Germany as well. Contant de la Pierre is back in the game. And as we can see in the background, well, Australia are up to 9th. And I think that means they'll be starting to eat back into the Spanish's advantage. And Rockwool, Denmark 11th. I thought it was nearly impossible for the Danish to lose this event. And they're trying. Come on, Nikolai, don't do it to me.
They had a massive lead coming in today. This is for the event win, not the overall grand final. But Rockwool, Denmark, they could salvage the season, Hannah. Really winning this event overall, they get $800,000.
Yeah, and they've had plenty of good Saturdays before, but Nikolai's so aware that their Sundays haven't been so strong, so it'd be a shame to see them drop out from the lead at this point. They'll be working hard to catch up through fleet here.
I don't think we go for it, TJ. I think we just hold. Go H1.
Still sounds pretty calm on board.
Yeah,
hopefully they weren't out celebrating in Abu Dhabi last night too early. That's all I can say. What's interesting for me here, let's think about the grand final, which we've got to think Emirates GBR are going to be in right now. And of course, there's Spain and Australia, that battle between those boats. Slingsby's got the Aroos going fast here. They're back in the game, reassuring for Australian fans. First time we've seen a British boat out in the lead, though, Todd, and they're looking pretty quick. It's the first time one of the top boats has been at the front of the fleet.
Important number, 6-7. As Spain has moved in front by 1 spot over the Bonds Flying Roos, and once again Tom Slingsby. Remember, folks, he started in the back of the pack because of the penalty in the start box. He has gone from 12th to 7th.
Yeah, and actually gained. If we look at that race to the grand final, it was down to 4 points. It's now up to 5 because Slingsby's improved his overall performance.
A real good pressure coming down this side. I really think it's worth 2 jives from here, don't you?
There we go, the team talk there, brought to us by MasterCard, getting us on board the boat with Dylan Fletcher. They're saying it's worth doing a couple of extra manoeuvres. That's how patchy the wind is. They're trying to find these extra areas of wind on the course. We heard before the racing, Stuart Bithell, the wing trimmer on the German boat, said you need your lucky pants on today because it's not very easy to find that wind. But the British seem pretty confident it's that way. Aggressive manoeuvring, and it's a big rotation in the wind to the left. So good move by the British.
So gate 4, the DP World Gate, it finds Emirates GBR out in front. North Star Canada has dropped back to 2nd place. Germany, Deutsche Bank, they sit in 3rd, and here comes Contant de la Pierre and the French, rounding out the top 4, and then a big gap back to 5th, and Phil Robertson and Red Bull Italy.
Foiling attack as well, that hand, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, really impressive, and I think, you know, they're happy to throw in some more manoeuvres for those teams who are looking at the grand final. They're trying to learn the course and really push the limits of the boat because they've got the big race coming up later.
And look at this, Australia, the Bonds Flying Roos, they have moved up ahead of Spain, so maximum effort for the Aussies, Stevie, as they put the pressure on Los Gallos, the defending champions from last year.
Oh yeah, I mean, Spain have really got to travel places on this race course if they want to get past them, and they can't have the Australians ahead of them in the overalls or in this race even, so this is disastrous news for the Spanish team, defending champions, remember, but as, you know, as Juan Cardona suggested in that interview, you know, they're up against the 3-time champions, so not an easy fight to find yourself in.
All kinds of great stories going on here, leg 5 of 6. This is the first fleet race of the day. We've got one more, and then it's the 3-boat grand final. You've got Emirates GBR, the most consistent team on the year. They are leading race number 5. Canada's dropped back to 2nd. Then you've got the battle between Australia and Spain. The Australians have moved ahead of Los Gallos, Spain. And then you have Denmark, who was leading coming into this in line to win $800,000. And Stevie, they are in 12th. They are in jeopardy of flushing the mouse and missing out again.
Yeah, I mean, it's unbelievable, isn't it? But that's just what this racing's like. It's so tight. And that's where it's a slightly different game here. As we see the British, they turn, they're going to head in towards the Emirates finish line there. And it's been a clinical race when they got a bit of space.
So it's Emirates GBR that will bring it home. And what a way to set themselves up for a possible showdown in the 3-boat grand final. The Emirates winning moment goes the way of Emirates GBR.
Well, that's the first time all weekend they've... yeah, how good it is to be foiling. I'm with you on that one, Dylan. Absolutely with you. North Star Canada, good result for them, and that'll really see them move up the leaderboard, that is for sure, in terms of the event here in Abu Dhabi, Todd. That'll be their goal, that $800,000 they'll be trying to chase that down. Yeah, Rockwool, Denmark, unbelievable, really. Really struggling, as a Spain. Spain seem to have come off the foils. 7th place at the moment, but just not doing what they need to get back past that Australian boat.
So Giles Scott and North Star Canada bring it across the line. They finish in 2nd place officially. Now the battle on for a top 3 finish. And it looks like Germany Deutsche Bank just holding off the French as they come around that last gate. And it looks like, yes, it will be Germany Deutsche Bank ahead of France, and that will be 3 and 4.
Very much in the game, and I keep saying it, Todd. I mean, if Germany, the form they found in the back half of this season, they're literally top three standard at the moment.
No question about it. They win the event in Geneva, Switzerland, event number 10, and in event number 11 in Cádiz, they come off and finish a top 3.
Well, Denmark up to 10th. They've made a little gain on this downwind leg here. Australia and Spain. Spain look like they've got past Australia. Middle of our screen. Spain own the mark on the right turn, but the hydrofoiling. I think Slingsby's going to do the Slingsby slingshot. He should fly right round the outside of the Spanish here. Can he stay fast enough? He's going to be going nearly 3 times the speed of that Spanish boat. Flying, not flying. There's your gains.
And it's quite literally the Bonds flying ruse that go past the champions from last year, and that may be the proverbial nail in the coffin right there.
I think it's going to be, I mean, I don't know if it's impossible. I'm not that good at maths, but we'll find out. I think basically that overtake there could see the Bonds flying ruse pretty much book their place in the final.
With just one more fleet race to go and 10 points available, it is Australia who started dead last. They finish in 6th, 1 spot ahead of Los Gallos, Spain. So what a way to start things off here in Abu Dhabi at the 2025 season grand final.
Nice fight there.
And the Kiwis will come across in 8th place, so no real harm done to them. Just something you can't say about Pete Burling's trigger finger as he continues to soldier on in that driver position. It'll be Martini Grail and Mubadala Brazil. Stevie comes in 9th. Hannah, Rockwell, Denmark, for my money, the big losers in this race.
Yeah, really disappointing race from them. They've got one more race to see if they can take home that event final here in Abu Dhabi, but they're going to be asking some questions for sure, because this is becoming a pattern on a Sunday.
Yeah, but they've got a point.
Yeah.
And they don't need many points, so that point's crucial, and especially with the Swiss and USA, I think they were 3rd and 4th overall before today. So, you know, that's another teams that they're really challenging with that have had bad races. So, yes, some things to think about on board that Danish boat, but maybe, not, maybe, just maybe, they're keeping the fans on tenterhooks until this last race.
You look at Denmark's day 1 report card, they got a 3rd, a 1st, a 1st, and a 2nd. So to start off today with a 10th,
So I get a picture.
See the Red Powers in the middle. New flight controller, first real day actually flying the boat, I'd say, so he's got a lot to learn.
US SailGP comes across in 11th place, which means they pick up no points, nor does Swiss as they cross the line in 12th. So only the top 10 teams get points, 11 and 12. Quick debrief, find out what you can do better for the 6th and final fleet race here in season 2025.
And slow turn.
Disappointing for the Swiss after that penalty. I wonder how much that sort of shook them up really with that incident at the start line in the last race they did yesterday, because they've been sailing great, you know. Yeah, and I mean, Dylan Fletcher's had to travel places to get here, hasn't he, from where he was in things. He's had to make a huge comeback. Tom Slingsby's had to do a complete reset. Burling's a man with a plan, but as we know, Todd, everyone has a plan until first contact with the enemy, and we're about to see that first contact. I think Tom Slingsby's going to be the first to turn back and try and set up the pre-start. Interesting that Fletcher's choosing to come in late. Is this an Ainsley preceded move here that he's trying to give him a bit of space? Outridge said he wanted space on the start line. Fletcher's giving himself that space. This is going to be an absolute classic.
Sit back and enjoy the grand final here in Abu Dhabi. 60 seconds away from deciding the start. Who will make contact first?
Now we can see a favoured position on the start lines toward the downwind end, sort of middle of our screen, that blue line there, that's the optimum place to start. It's a short run to Mark 1, so if you are on the inside, the more downwind end, I think that's going to give you a big advantage. The Bomb Flying Ruse have a bit of a sniff. He wants that bottom end of the line, and he does control the first decision. He makes everyone else choose on him. Slingsby has control of things at the moment. Where does Fletcher go from here? There's space. The black foils say they're early. Fletcher's going to have the run up at these two boats. He might have the space space he needs with 25 seconds to go. Now you've got to stay calm. Now you've got to execute. You've got to build the speed. You've got to accelerate the speed. The Rolex pole predictor sits aboard Slingsby's Australian boat. He's near that optimum place. But who's going to be foiling at the gun when that line turns white? Emirates turns towards the line. The black foils turn towards the line. Slingsby turns towards the line. Who's got it right out of the middle? It's Slingsby. It's now a race to the foils. It's a speed build, speed build, speed build, and the three-time champion, Tom Slingsby, I think, is going to be first on the foils. Here they go.
Nice pressure at the mark, buddy.
Is it a bit of a calm before the storm, as the Bonds Flying Rouge will lead them to mark number 1, and Tom Slingsby will get the whole shot as we start the grand final here in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, Slingsby had the plan and he's nailed it. They lead at Mark 1. It's not done yet, but wow, you want to be first at Mark 1, and the Emirates GBR team have got work to do if they want to get back into this. Huge gains for Bonds Flying Rouge at Mark 1.
So, Hannah, the Aussies force the issue and they control the line, and now the chase is on.
Yeah, that's right, and I'm not surprised to see Emirates GBR take the early manoeuvre there. The breeze looks much more consistent, obviously with fewer boats, but also it looks like it's settled down a little bit, so hard to catch up for any boats behind.
I quite like the look of the right turn at the bottom of the course. It looked like you'd get a nice long runaway out of there. And of course, this is the first time these boats have really been able to stretch their legs. 14 kilometres now, breeze. Foiling well. We've got these new light wind foils, the Armstrong extensions on those foils. The boat's gliding beautifully through the manoeuvre, so I expect them to stay foiling. But at gate 2, it's a big decision.
And as they approach gate 2, the DP World Gate, we check it down in the water. Lisa Darman and Stevie likes the right-hand turn. What do you say?
I really think that they're going to continue to go straight in these conditions, optimize the time that you're on the foils. As you kind of said, I expect them to come back this way. In general, coming the opposite side to the grandstand on the upwind leg has been a really nice approach. So, you know, it's so hard with a 3-boat race to try and protect your position. You've got to go with your eyes.
Big, big moment there, Lisa. As we say that, the black foils chose to get away and get into space. Emirates are going to turn straight away here to get clear wind, and it's now about building speed, and this is just crucial. There looks like good wind in towards that side of the course where the Bonds Flying Rouge are. The leaderboard is close. This race is all on. Who's going to find the most breeze? Foiling. Oh, they're off the foils on board the Bonds Flying Rouge, and they've tried to press too soon. They didn't get foiling smoothly. Can the black foils stick this manoeuvre?
Touch and go.
Foiling tack here could be the championship.
Pete Burling calls for a touch and go.
Right of way, black with the Bonds Flying Rouge, but they've got to take off.
Look at the speed on Emirates GBR.
Yeah, oh, and I think the black foils are going to have to go behind here. This could be a big moment. I don't know if they're clear. Oh, it's going to be a penalty. Oh, he's clear.
He's going to sell it. He's going to sell it.
Pistol Pete, wow, he called that one, didn't he? Massive moment. The Emirates GBR have stuck their manoeuvre. Black foils should cross, though. Black foils are in great shape. The right turn at the bottom was good. Big gain to the black foils. No penalty. Clear cross. That was absolute masterclass.
One and left from here.
One left.
And just like that, the Bonds Flying Rouge go from first to third as they see the pressure building on the Kiwis out in front. Their speed, 37 kilometers an hour. Emirates GBR still in a good position, but they are in second.
I think there's more, at least is there more wind as you come up the course? I feel like the Kiwis are sailing towards a lot of wind on that side of the course.
Are we all the way to the bottom again?
Not sure if we've got comms with Lisa at the moment. Where I'm sailing now, black foils have just pieced this together. You see how they're sailing nearly straight up the ladder line? It suggests that the wind's rotated a bit that way. Oh, Hannah, what a moment.
Yeah, huge moment. You could see a lot of the teams really hard to land that manoeuvre there. 30 kilometers an hour is that magic number to keep the boat on the foils, but they need to build that speed before they attempt that manoeuvre to make sure they're safe at making it.
Calling for another touch and go on board the Black Foils of New Zealand. They have more than a 100-meter lead, and here we are on leg 3 of 6, approaching the halfway point of the grand final with $2 million on the line to the winner.
It's all about how quickly they get back on the foils here. We're halfway point in the race, Todd. They're just going to go downwind from here, and then that short upwind. If they can get a decent lead, most of the other boats, Australia are going to have to follow them.
Hey, copy.
Emirates GBR could split on a right turn here. Black foils aren't going to foil. They
Look
can't
at the
foil.
speed difference.
Although we'll get around here, but
they'll foil on the
GBR
takeoff.
still slow at that.
GBR are going to be coming in. They're going to have to watch out for the Bonds Flying Rouge. GBR are trying to dive inside at the top here. think the black foils will be round, but who gets first on the foils here? Emirates are going to be off the foils, and maybe they might just... Oh, Fletcher's masterclass there. He's got round. He's going to do right turn on the foils. Huge. Here we go. Black foils need to get back up in the air quick.
And we are back to almost dead even once again, and Emirates GBR are in first place.
They are, but I don't know for how long, because I like where the black foils are going. They're sailing out to that more wind side of the course.
Every team now has had a chance to lead here in the grand final. Who can hold on to it for the second half of the race?
They've all got at least 2 or 3 jibes here, Hannah, haven't they? So it's about sticking. I mean, how nervous are you right now?
Definitely really nervous. There's a huge split in the course here with boats on either side. Sticking these maneuvers is going to be really key. Emirates GBR look like they've had a really nice rotation in the wind there, allowing them to sail a bit further down the course.
All right, we're in this. Lefty coming here, Gabe, first thing.
So he's talking on the upwind leg there instantly, and if it was lefty, so the one was on a left shift on that MasterCard team talk there, that means they're going to sail in this shift all the way down. And look at them, they're going nearly straight down the course, massive turnaround.
And explain who he's talking about when he says Goobs.
Goobs is Ian Jensen, the wing trimmer there on board that, so yeah.
Not a sailing term.
Not a classic sailing term, no, but what a massive change. Big wind shift, Fletcher in phase with it. Emirates GBR are gone here.
Softer, I think. Everything for this mark.
Looking for that right turn again, which was so powerful on the last lap.
Olympic gold medalist Hannah Mills up on the handles, a strategist doing multitasking right now. It's Dylan Fletcher, who was part of Emirates GBR in season 1. He lost his driving seat, came back this year, and look at this. It is Emirates GBR out in front by more than 200 meters here in the grand final.
Yeah, and right turn means you've only got one maneuver to do on this upwind, so this is a no-brainer. I mean, yeah, this is it. This is your walk-in glory moment on board Emirates Great Britain.
Angle there.
Massive shift in the breeze by the look of it. The wind has really rotated left here. Massive shift, and they're just perfectly in phase with it.
Look it up if you need for late.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if we see either of the boats behind splitting to go the other way, with it just being one manoeuvre into that next mark.
Yeah, nothing doing here.
Down.
They just picked the shift. This manoeuvre here, if they can stay in the foot. Good breeze out of it. Dark water in front of them there. They should stay foiling.
More press for me.
Moments away from a new champion. Spain won it last year, Australia the prior 3 years, and now in season 5, Emirates GBR is poised to take, the title.
Not sure if they're quite on ley line yet. They're closing up to that. The yellow line, our ley line. Hannah's calling a righty, which should be kind of good for them anyway, because they're towards the right of everyone else, but they want to get there with no more manoeuvres. He's fine. They can always touch it down onto one hull and take off again. This is it, Emirates GBR. Wow. What a moment at that top gate number 3.
Nice angle.
What a race. You had Australia getting the whole shot, leading after mark number 1. You had the Kiwis rolling the dice and coming up. Yahtzee, Stevie, they led on the upwind and then the turn back. And then out of nowhere, Dylan Fletcher and Emirates GBR round the last gate. And now it is a straight shot to $2 million for the Brits. Years ago, they used to say the British are coming. Well, the British have arrived. The Emirates winning moment goes the way to Emirates GBR. They are the Season 5 champions.
What a race.
They cross the line with room to spare, and it looks like it will be the black foils unless they get rolled over by Tom Slingsby. And wouldn't that be a Slingsby thing to do? I'm not going to settle for third. I'm taking second.
Yeah, can the black foils get up and foiling here? Well, what a season for both these teams. It's going to be tight. It looks like the Bonds Flying Roos are going to sneak through on the inside here of the black foils. I mean, the reality for these two is if you're not first, you're last, and they're going to be just gutted by that for sure. What an amazing season by both of these teams, but it came down to minor details, and one wind shift at the top. Emirates GBR were in phase, and that's it.
The Bonds Flying Roos will finish in second place in front of the fans here in Abu Dhabi, and the Black Foils of New Zealand will finish in third. But what an amazing event, and the celebration can now begin. Emirates GBR are champions in Season 5.